That's fine, we can do it.
Nope, sorry, excuse me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Yeah, you were early.
Pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
roll call.
Here.
John here, Mike,
Here.
Bobby, here, and Janet, here.
Minutes of the April meeting.
Make a motion that we disperse with them as written.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Okay. The agenda.
Could we add, the pump, I'm sorry, the emergency generator?
That's on the ARPA list.
No, for Burger King.
Yeah, I put that on the ARPA list. I didn't know what your cost was on it. And you're talking about that for,
It's funded by the grant,
by the grant.
not by our.
I know, but I put that on the wish list just in case.
Oh!
So is there something, this is another thing I was gonna ask you about. You said that was a draft, that Eagle grant was a draft. Did you ever get a final from them?
We will tomorrow. We just need to talk about whether you want to proceed with allowing you to sign once it comes.
Okay.
The draft will not change. Otherwise, you have to call a special meeting.
Okay, that wouldn't change. Why don't we put that generator on the June meeting? We'll have time, won't we?
That's up to you.
I think, well, it seems to me like,
I don't know how long it takes to get
Yeah,
permission
that's
from
true.
DNR. But that's okay. June's fine.
okay. Public comments on the, wait a minute.
Adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt the agenda.
I will.
Dawn, second. Bobby Sports, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Public comment on agenda items. Any public comments on agenda items?
I've got one.
Yes,
On on item 15,
yep,
I understand there will be a weight limit on the bridge,
correct.
but if we recall when they were putting the new seawall, they violated the weight restrictions on the road, bringing that big crane. Having known that, do we have a provision in the agreement that the road commission has to return it to its condition when it started?
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. And Gordon, about enforcement, well, how about we'll get to that, when we get to that on the agenda. Thank you, Pat. And is there another public comment? Thank you.
No, it's just a comment about I can't read them from there.
Age.
Well, I don't know, but I have glasses, but
Is that better, Mike?
I can't hear.
One more?
a little better, that's fine. I'm being facetious too. It looks good now.
Okay.
Thank you, Michael.
Oh, you're welcome. Let's see if that, okay, let's,
Where's your service dog?
I left him home.
public comment on agenda item just closed. Correspondence, there was just one piece of correspondence, and that was from TIE&G. I sent it out to you. And anybody interested in going to sit in on that in Hillman on a Friday night, have at it. I think it's Friday. Okay, was the treasurer's report and bills, Bobby?
All right, you have your report. It is, I emailed it to you guys and it's in your packet with the bank balances. Who knows where it's at? No. So the new bank balance report. I have been continuing to work with BS&A in moving the funds from the general IMA into the checking, creating the pooled account, finding little things hanging out in different funds in the BS&A system. So I've continued to work with BS&A, and then Neil Humbecker, an accountant who's helping now, who I found very, very helpful. So continuing to work on that to get the pooled funds all where they're supposed to be and kind of clean up these accounts in BS&A. As soon as I have that done, I also have found a nice balance sheet I can print for you right now. With those little things hanging out, I want to wait and give it to you once that is all set, because quite honestly, I
I
don't
think
know
anybody
what,
can hear you.
don't know what to tell you where some of those funds come from right now until I get that figured out. So those are your bank balances, and then you also have your bills.
Okay. Motion to pay the bills?
Can I ask a question?
You may.
Hey, Dawn sent us what do you call that document? Dawn?
Budget?
Yeah. So we're getting like really, really close on the office assistant, I think, of exceeding that budget. So, I mean, do we need to do a budget adjustment?
Well, maybe, but can we, do you want to just do the bills first?
Oh,
The
sure.
bills, and then we
Sure.
can talk about the budget
Oh,
after that.
yeah, I didn't see it on the
It's-
agendas. No
it's in-
problem.
It's in there. I
Okay.
put it in.
All right.
Okay, so the first one is your invoice register, and that's been updated. Because of the election and all the extra work that went on with that, we ended up doing, like a crash thing on Friday and today to get these updated. I can hear myself.
We can't hear you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so there's some additional there if you have any questions about it. It's pretty generic, it's pretty much the same stuff we always pay.
Make a motion to pay the bills.
Is there support?
I support.
All in favor?
Aye.
And the budget.
Okay. The next one was the quarterly budget report.
Yeah, so the only thing I was asking is, oh boy, where is it? I gotta get your number, don't
Which one are you talking about?
I? The office assistant.
It's on the first page.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so we're like 91% as of March 31st, and we don't wanna go over, so how do we handle that? Do we just do a budget adjustment?
Well, I can look at other areas within that cost center. So in that department, the 101 department, so if you go to the second page, for example, we have professional expenses, Township Board professional expenses. We're only at 23%. We had 7,000 in there.
I know we have enough money in the
Yeah.
cost center, but when we revised the resolution, we said not
Oh.
including personnel costs and capital costs, so I just wanted to make sure we recovered, because when I added up the $10,930 to the pay that she got in April, yeah, and the pay that she got in April, we're gonna be over by the end of the month on that line, so, I mean, I'm okay with it, I just don't wanna make a mistake.
Well, we have to follow our rules.
Let me see where we're at.
So I think she got paid like, gross was 1,040, and if you add that to the 10,930, it puts us so close to the 12,000.
I think we should move enough to get through.
Yeah, whatever you think.
Can we find her?
She on the second page?
No, she's on the very first page. So Department 101 down at the bottom.
It's
There's
704.0.
Trustees, and then the next one is
Okay,
administrative
there you go.
assistant.
I'm looking
Yeah,
for a paycheck. How many more paychecks are there?
office assistant. There is another one.
We just figure 1,000 a month.
Yeah, a little over, because they're taxes.
Right, exactly.
So if we do 12. That's it.
2,500.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Part of the reason we're burning through that is because we gave her a raise.
Yeah, plus you had an election too.
Yep. Well, a lot of that, her extra pay came out of the election
Oh,
fund.
okay.
So can we move it, can I make a motion?
Yeah.
Can we make a motion? We'll take it from administrative assistant, because I think that kind of jives.
Yeah,
So I would make a motion to move $2,500 from 101, 70400 to 101, 70402.
I
I
second.
second. Oh, go ahead, Bob. You
No, you go.
doesn't matter.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, wait, who seconded it? Bob, you or Jan?
Janet
Jan.
Ladies first.
Is there anything else on there?
Is there anything else, Dawn, you'd like to bring to our attention on this quarterly budget? 'Cause I'm just scanning through it real quick here.
Just that you're probably gonna notice that, on the Parks and Rec, there is,
Okay, what number is that, honey? I'm trying to catch up with you.
it's the 101751, so it's about the third page in.
Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna see, about three quarters of the way down under repairs and maintenance. They're well over, they had forecasted 12,000 and they're at 32,000. But that's for the ball field, and they've already said, they already had a meeting and authorized to move 28,000 from their, fund balance to cover that cost for the ball diamond.
While we're on this, can I ask the board, we have one Veterans Pier paver bricks. I would like permission to do that at cash in, cash out, because people come in and they order their bricks, and technically I'm not even allowed to order them until after it's been approved. But I would like, if, when the,
They pay for it.
yeah, they pay for them, it's cash in, it's not, we're not taking it out of the fund balance or anything like that. So
So-
people come in and they order their bricks, I want to be able to order them right away and then also pay for them right away when we pick them up.
It would be a
Don't we have to order
post,
a lot of new bricks to fix the others?
We do,
yeah,
yep.
it would be a post-audit policy line item, to go along with the.
Can you talk in the
consumer's
mic
power.
so we can hear?
Oh, sorry.
Isn't that a cost center thing?
I don't know,
No, it would be post-audit, so we can add things to the post-audit list.
just like the paper bricks are,
Yeah, but can't he? Oh,
So
I
we
thought
would
maybe he could just move the money around because it's cost center.
No,
Okay.
Because it's a
Whatever you
bill.
want to do is fine with me, makes sense to me.
So, motion to add brick pavers to the post audit
yeah.
list. on the
Second.
policy.
Second by Bob, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Is there anything else?
Do we ever figure out the vacation pay?
Oh, for parks, you mean?
Yeah, it was
That-
some huge amount or something.
They're like 160%. And I don't know why we are, and I've asked that question several times and I haven't got an answer yet, why we're 160%, 60% over what was projected,
The vacation time for the Parks and Rec,
yeah.
that's the question? Where's Dougie? Can you help me?
Actually, it's holiday pay.
Yeah.
that's the holiday.
Oh, yeah, Parks Holiday.
Right. Back last year, there was some employees that weren't supposed to get holiday pay that inadvertently did get it. And
Yes.
all of the change around messed up, but it's all straightened out now. It happened. We're
Okay, we just
proceeding
want
on
to know why
it.
it
Yep,
was
that's
over.
why it happened.
But it
Thank you,
won't
Deb.
happen again, right?
Right.
Then
Thank you, Deb.
good, that's good to know.
Now, do we have to fix that, Bobby?
I mean, we could bring it in the budget, but
We're good?
overall, they're not over budget.
Okay.
Move it from different line item.
You want to do that now, or you can soon do it?
Don can just do it.
Okay. Is there any more comments, questions about the quarterly report?
Looks good.
Okay. Police report, chief.
We have finally completed our snowmobile grant for last winter. Just waiting on one more check to get back so I can submit it to the state for reimbursement. Hopefully, we'll have that done and taken care of next week. But even though it was a very slow snowmobile season, our snowmobile officer worked 138 hours, 69 verbal warnings for the winter, and issued 21 snowmobile citations. And he was dispatched to 4 snowmobile complaints. And as far as I know, we're still on track with patrol cars to be arriving in June, so.
Okay. We'll be talking about that shortly.
Yep.
Thank you, chief. Reports, DDA, anyone from the DDA here besides me? We have, we have the proofs for our new outdoor exhibits, the proofs. They look nice. Jim's gonna go over and make sure they don't label the sturgeon as a shark, right? We've seen those problems before. So, and I'm still waiting on the Still waiting on the survey from the corner before we can get permission to go ahead and put a well in. So that's DDA. Parks Commission. Jennifer, it's nice to have you here tonight. Grandma, new grandma.
Mimi. Same to you. Same to you. Congratulations, Grandpa.
I'm experienced.
I'm gonna let Doug do the report on all the details, but Craig Waldron had brought a grant to our attention through Kubota Tractor. They're celebrating 50 years of existence, and we only had 2 weeks to get ready for it. But Doug and I worked really hard on getting the grant out, but it's for $100,000, and the best thing about it is for, you know, repairs and maintenance. It's not for new projects, which never happens. So, you know, keep your fingers crossed. We just kind of talked about what a, you know, wonderful park we have and how many people have volunteered to make it what it is today. And hopefully that, along with the fact that we use all Kubota equipment, we listed everything we've ever used and everything that we need. We have pictures of him using his equipment at the park. So the great thing is we won't know until July 13th, but if we do get it, then we can reapply for another $100,000. There'll be 5 $100,000 winners, and those 5 will be able to apply for another extra. That'll be like a Facebook challenge thing, so we'll make sure we get the word out there so everybody can. But we're hoping we'll get it, because we really need a lot of attention at our parks and all of our areas, and we kind of put this one, directed it more towards the playground needs an uplift, in our tennis courts, and our just our entryway, our drive too. So we kind of listed everything, but that's what we put most of the time to. And then I'll let Doug do the rest of it. Just talk about what else going on. How busy he is right now.
The scoreboard's finally up on Field 6. Field 6 is pretty close to completion. We still have some dugout work to do. We need a little bit more of the infield mix to finalize it. They will be able to play on it until we get it. And we have Ohioville Cemetery is all blown into the roads. I'm just waiting for a wet day to pick up the leaves, because right now they go everywhere as soon as we touch them. But it's moving along good. We're getting a lot of projects done, finally. Things are coming together. And Mike, on the DDA, you forgot to say that concrete should be starting in the next week or two. Concrete projects, so a lot happening.
Hey Doug, is that tree gonna come down over the boat ramp before you put in the concrete?
Ben wants to look at the tree. Ben Hinman, the artist. He wants to take.
We didn't hire him to look at the tree.
That's what he wants to see. So,
As soon as this decision's made, I'll get it done.
I just don't let the tree falling on the expensive sculpture.
okay. Well, that's some part. Thank you. Planning Commission, Michael.
Yeah, you know, as we embark on another 10-year master plan, I look back at the last 10 years and realize the importance of having a well-thought-out plan for the future for this community's growth. With that said, we're going to have our first meeting Thursday here at 1 o'clock to start the preliminary process. And hopefully in the next few months we can pull something together like we did back in 2012. So the community is all invited. It's open to the public, but this is only going to be a preliminary meeting. As we get into more ideas and things down the road, there'll be more input from the community. So it's 1 o'clock Thursday is our first process meeting.
Thank you. Cemetery.
Good evening. I have, in the last month, scheduled 2 internments through Bruce. I have 3 other pending internments, depending on whether Bruce is available, getting everybody on the same page. I have 3 inquiries from people who need help finding the location of plots that they believe that they own, and I will get with Dawn on that. And then 1 inquiry about purchasing a plot. All of this is Oak Hill activity in the Ohioville. I reached out to the local Boy Scout troop in the hope of finding an Eagle Scout who's working on a project, and was not aware that for a lack of volunteers, the troop here in Indian River is no longer active. So I'm expanding my net to find another troop in the area with someone who's hopefully working on an Eagle Scout project so that we can get some other stuff done at the cemetery. Any questions?
Who are the three people that you worked with? I just want to make sure we're not doing double duty.
Roberta Ball, Debbie Dillon, and Carol Mativa is pretty sure, but obviously we'd like to confirm the plot because she's trying to plan something for June or July. And then there's a woman from Harbor Springs who's looking to purchase a plot in Oakville. She's got very specific requirements about other family members and finding a plot in those areas. So, okay?
Thank you. Library report.
Okay. I'll go here. So, we have a couple things to note for spring. We have a hobby hangout class next Wednesday from 1 to 3 about spring cleaning, which is everybody's favorite thing. But you can make your own laundry detergent and your own counter spray, and you'll learn how to make all these things in this class. So if you want to do that, sign up on our website. We now offer COVID-19 test kits through a curbside service. So it's anyone who is interested is eligible to get kits. It's one kit per person, which comes with, so it's one kit, but it comes with 2 tests for each kit. And all you have to do is call us and let us know what kind of car you're driving and where you are in the parking lot, and we'll run them out to you. So that's something. And we're also opening up our summer reading program signups, so that's started. You can sign up on our website or in the library with the paper applications. And we have that, it's all ages, so 0 to 100. And basically, it's a camping theme. It'll be really fun, and it's really easy to do alongside the rest of your summer activities. And if you finish it, then you'll be in a drawing to win a prize or something. So it'll be fun. And the biggest thing is we're doing a cooperation book walk that we're partnering with the Great Start Collaborative and with the Parks Department and the Township. And we'll be doing, so the book walk will basically be at the Cooperation Park, and it'll be at the playground area. It's already put in and around there, so you can read about why we're doing it and what it is. We'll put the first story in around Memorial Day weekend, and our opening ceremony for that is Tuesday, June 7th at 1 p.m., so feel free to stop by because we'll be doing a lot of interesting, exciting things. We'll be helping people sign up for the summer program, and we'll also have goodies and food and stuff for people, so you can just check it out that way. So that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kelsey.
Kelsey? The events that you have at Cooperation Park, you can put them on and have her reserve the areas that you're going to be using.
Nope, I should do that.
You should do
Yep.
that. People are reserving
you.
stuff.
Thank you, Kelsey. Okay, sewer report, Bob.
No changes, it's online.
Okay, right here. Anybody would like a copy? We have copies here. So. Okay, thank you. Police Department, I'm sorry, audit engagement agreement. Cambridge. We need to get 2024, so there's a contract. We've been with them for 6 years, and their fees over the next, for this year, next year, 23 and 24 are $8,300, $8,550, and $8,800 over the next 3 years.
Is that reasonable? Bobby?
I guess my only question would be, I'd like to see in here this year, it went over that by quite a bit. And there really wasn't any scope on extra work being done and extra conversations outside of the auditing of the books process. So I would like to see some sort of parameters on that because 8,300 becomes 10,000 quickly.
Talk loud.
Yeah.
Talk loud.
So anyway, I guess that would be a concern that's not addressed in here. Because at the end of the audit, when we got the findings back and I needed to ask questions to be able to continue to work on the audit findings, I was on a timer with Richard and not always allowed to ask my questions because we had gone over on that with other conversations that were being had outside of the audit process. So I guess I have a concern about that. If we're gonna continue forward, I would want that addressed.
Well, we'll talk to him about that. Okay. Is there a motion to engage Gavers for 3 years?
Well, I guess that we should probably understand why we're engaging Gaybridge for 3 years. Normally, this is an annual contract. However, for the sewer district, phase 1 sewer district, the requirement was that we engage them through 2024. So typically, we wouldn't be doing this, but for the sewer, we're doing it.
Mike, you got experience with this. Why are they?
USDA.
I'm not sure.
USDA.
Yeah, I know.
I couldn't tell you for sure. I don't think we had to do that before, did we? I mean, there's a lot of things that have popped up that I don't recall having gone through that before.
I don't remember having to have any kind of I mean, we've done this, like you said, annually, but I believe there have been times in the past when an auditor has required more than a 1-year engagement because it's hard, for them to get into your books and to understand our organization. For 1 year, they want a 2 or 3 year contract. So I know we've been involved in 2 and 3 year contracts before, but not by requirement of.
This specifically was driven by USDA. It was on the list.
Yeah, I see. I make the motion that we proceed with this.
Well, Gavers, your support?
I support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Okay. Police contract, I believe, and there was only a few changes. The first and foremost being that they changed unions, correct, Chief?
Correct. They went from Police Officers Labor Council to Fraternal Order of Police.
And I want to remind everybody that when you're home eating dinner and the phone rings and is someone soliciting for the Fraternal Order of Police, you've already contributed. You're paying, it's their union. So, and you told me before, that's a profit organization. That is not it's not a nonprofit, is it? The one that's soliciting?
Sure. Well, I have no idea.
Okay, well, I get that.
Half the time it's not even really them.
Great. I knew that accent, I just. Taking it. Anyway, the agreement with the police department changed. We're three-year agreement. They had an increase in the pay of 3.25%, 3.25%, and 3.25% over the next 3 years. The other thing that changed was the premium pay for the night shift. They went from 70 cents to $1 an hour extra. Boot cleaning went to $50 a year more. There was an allowance for that. And comp time went from 80 hours to 100 hours. That's correct, right, Chief?
Correct, yeah.
What they can hold in their bank.
Great. And then instead of taking pay, they take time off, correct?
Correct.
Correct, okay.
Is it use or lose over a certain period of
I
time?
don't think it is it?
No, not for that. Vacation is though.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. If you've had a chance to look at the police contract, I sent it out to you. Are there any questions about it? Bobby and I got bloody knuckles going at it with them. They're very great. They're wonderful. We have a great police department, and I hope all your encounters with them are positive and on the plus side, because they are wonderful people. We're fortunate to have them. Is there any more discussion or questions about the contract? Is there a motion to approve it?
I make a motion.
Ken makes a motion. Is there support? Bobby supports. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Policy update. This was a question from Let me see if I can find that. This outline of contract budget. Sorry.
Speed reader.
I was gonna make you all sit here and read that with me.
Make it bigger then.
Mike, you get a chair closer to the screen.
This was all that was available.
No, it's not just him, I got 20/20 and I.
Okay, this was Janet's had this audit, corrective action plan. And then Bobby, you worked this one out and you have an announcement or not,
I
description?
guess, yep. I was gonna say, Mike handed this off to me yesterday, and I'll just give you guys how I kind of grouped it. Because I think it says policy update, but I think what you're really asking for, because all of these things that you mentioned, you're talking about the audit. So are you asking for an audit update where we are there?
No.
Okay.
Well, maybe, I'm not sure what you mean by that. What I'm saying is that in the audit, it was recommended that we do certain policies and procedures, and they gave us a deadline, the end of fiscal year 2022 to get it done.
Okay.
And there's a whole list of them. First of all, there's one, the first one that I said was the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. And that was under the 2021-005. The township should develop and implement written procedures over preparation of the schedule of expenditures of federal awards to be used as a reference for future years subject to single audit reporting. Then there was 2 through 7, which is allowability of costs charged to federal programs, cash management policy, financial management policy, procurement, which is a bid policy, compensation and payroll policy, and travel cost policy. That's all covered under 2021-006. And it says, basically, and that was the list they gave us, and it says, we recommend that the township ensures these policies are updated to conform with the uniform guidance as soon as practical, but no later than the end of the fiscal year 2022. Well, we're at that stage.
Okay.
And we need to get
Okay,
these
but-
policies
okay.
done.
Okay,
Yep.
You go ahead and you want to update?
Okay,
what-
yep, so the first 2 have to do with the CFA, the grant reporting form.
Yes.
That was filled out incorrectly the first time it was submitted. So this is saying in the audit that has to be corrected this year. So that will be done by working with the auditors and a consultant to make sure that CFA, which is the grant reporting for USDA, and we only have to do that when we have federal funds, which we will again this year. So there's no policy.
But this written procedure is what it is.
So, you're talking about schedule of expenditure of federal awards, right?
Right.
Yeah, CFA, yeah.
So what does this mean? Recommendation, the township should develop and, implement written procedures over the preparation of the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. So what does that mean? The township should develop and implement written procedures.
Yep, so that will happen as it's being prepared, so procedures. Dawn's never prepared it before. It's not a policy thing, it's a procedure. So as she's going through it, and Dawn has been talking with Joe quite a lot. I mean, this document is a working document that has been being worked on.
Okay.
So that's the CFA, that will happen when the CFA is prepared, and then it will be prepared properly, and there'll be procedures.
So when
that
they
go
do the
along with
audit
it.
the next time, they're gonna go, show me your written procedures, and you're just gonna show it.
They may, yes.
Well, no, they will.
Yeah, well, no, they might not. I mean, there's sometimes, they haven't asked me for written procedures on things every single year. It'll be one year you'll get it, another year, they'll ask for different things. An audit is to check different checks and balances. He doesn't ask me for the same set of documents every
Well,
year.
didn't he tell us in January when we had that conference? that,
Who are you talking?
We had that video conference
Okay.
with Joe in January,
Uh-huh.
and he said all these are checked and you don't want to have a repeat.
Right, so these are the things we're working on, so that's
Right.
one thing.
So when he asks that question, it's there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yep.
That's the last thing, that's actually the last
Good to go.
item that we have to work on with them,
Okay.
on this corrective action plan.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're
Just turn your mics on.
So then the next set would be there is a policy that is not done that has to be done, and that has to do, again, with federal money. So there has to be a policy in place, and there has to be specific wording as to what our policy is and how we accept federal grants, how we manage them and work with them. Joe is working with Dawn to get that together. Some of the pieces we already have.
Okay.
But as I recall, this is all new stuff.
Yeah, yep, they just added it. So, but conflict of interest we did because USDA asked us for it. So there's some pieces that we have in our files, but pieces that Joe is helping Dawn add to. So we'll have something to approve for next month. They were hoping to get it done this month, but it didn't. So that, I mean, he obviously understands the timing, so he is working with Dawn on that. And then the rest, you
Hang
were,
on.
oh, yep.
So going back to this, do we have to send that to Trey?
No.
We
This-
just have to have it available and ready.
So what happens, we get audited again next year. They're gonna come in, they're gonna look at all the things they look at. They're gonna look at these things, obviously,
Okay.
that's a
To check.
no-brainer.
Okay.
Because
I
if
know
you,
they
if you
got-
didn't do well once, they wanna make sure you
Right.
worked and you fixed it and you
Right,
corrected
because
it.
these were material weaknesses,
Yeah.
so they're gonna double check, make
They're
sure
gonna-
we.
All right, got it.
So,
Yeah,
yeah,
which is
so,
why we're working with.
Yeah.
Right, and
I
that's
don't
why
mean
I
to
brought
slow
up
you-
the question.
I don't mean to slow you down.
Yeah.
Don't
but
be
that's
quick,
it.
Bobby, just-
so yep, so that's the document. So those are the two things I think you addressed out of the corrective action plan. A lot of the things that were in there were done prior to, again, bank reconciliation, I've recorded to you guys. We have been, obviously, everything but the one account was being reconciled timely. Consolidating the accounts, getting that together, all of those are signed and in now, except for this last month with the consolidation. And Richard and I have kind of talked about that, it could show up again, but they take into account the knowledge that I have reconciled every other account in a very timely manner. The problems with the BS&A system are all documented, I have printouts. So the work is there so they can see exactly what it was. So that one, that's a coin flip on that one, but we've done the work and it's done. But then the other things you talk about, best practices, you refer to a document that you called the appendix, but it's
It's
really
really
this comment.
Yeah,
And so,
it's attachment A, and I used the appendix.
yeah, but it's not
Whoa,
part of
we're
the
getting-
filed audit.
But we're not done with this one here, we
What
don't
about
do
number
cash.
6?
Okay, so
Cash
look at that
management.
list I gotcha. 1 and 2 are
Right.
CFA.
Right,
Yeah, we
3,
got
4,
that.
5, and 8 go with that policy for federal grants. Okay?
Okay,
Travel costs, I couldn't find anywhere, travel cost policy and a budget policy and timeline, how those went with the federal grant policy.
Well, this just says 06, immaterial noncompliance. It's immaterial. Doesn't affect statutes or our statement. But it says,
We didn't have to.
the uniform guidance requires written policies pertaining to allowability of cost to charge federal programs, you got that. Cash management, financial management, procurement, compensation, payroll, and travel costs. And I seem to recall Richard or the other guy or somebody sent us a bunch of that. Perhaps.
Yeah, so.
I think they sent it to you, right?
They did, so a lot of that is, and this is what I've been working with Richard on, some of it we already have in place, there are written policies that Sue had in files. Some of it is covered here in the accounting procedures, it's law, we're following it. So, for example, financial management payroll, for example, we're doing everything that's required for payroll because it's based on state law.
Well, I know we're.
So we're doing it, so we don't need an additional, so that's what I'm working with him on. Where do we already have coverage in state law that we're following because we have to? And where are there gaps between what they're looking for and what's already in the state law? some of the best practices that are listed in here, we have to follow them because BSNA is built around them. So we're automatically following them, the two signatures, on the checks, the,
I got all that,
checks,
and I
all of that
understand
kind
all
of
that.
stuff.
I understand all of
So-
that, but last January,
Well, that's
the
why I'm
the
looking-
auditor said, you're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
You just don't have the policies and documented. That's why we started talking about special meetings and a policy book.
Yep.
So the issue has never been, hey, you're doing it wrong. The issue has been, they want something in writing that says, you gotta do it this way, A, B, C, D, or document what you're already doing, correct? Am I
Yep.
correct?
And some of
So-
it is.
Yeah, some of it
Okay.
is, and in talking to Joe, the corrective action plan, the policy that they want out of here in the CFA procedures are the things that have to be done by June 30th. This that he put in the comments and recommendations are things we need to work towards. And as Dawn is going through, we're finding that the township has a lot of these things. Sue had it in folder or it's on a desk. So the auditor hasn't asked for them in a while. Like I said, he hasn't asked me for my procedures in a few years. I have them still, and he's asked for them previously. So some of those things are out there. Pulling them together, having a meeting with what we already have is going to be much more productive than trying to recreate policies.
Oh, I
And-
agree.
And they're best practice, so they're not
I agree.
going to turn into dings on the audit. The things that we have to worry about audit-wise is the items in the corrective action plan that, this is what is
So
submitted.
you're saying it's not 1 through 7, it's 1 through 8?
No, I kind of broke it up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 8 fall under what still needs to be done
For the corrective action,
for the corrective action plan.
not for the additional recommendations?
Exactly.
But-
So then the remainder,
Whoa, this says cash management, financial management, procurement, compensation, payroll, and travel costs. So doesn't your number 7 have to go up there?
did I miss one?
Travel
Yeah,
costs?
you just missed one, it's no big deal.
I think
Okay.
travel costs is a recommendation and,
No,
No,
Is that part of?
No.
that's uniform
No.
guidance required.
it's paragraph 200.300 to
okay.
328.
So that's for federal grants.
This says the uniform,
It's
That's federal
06.
grant.
no,
See, 06 isn't in mine.
oh yeah,
It is, yeah.
It requires a non-federal entity, that's us, that got a
That might
grant
help.
to do
Yeah.
written policies, blah, 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 cash management, financial
Okay.
management.
So I just missed a
procurement.
comma.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
no-
Yep, that
no big
comma goes
deal.
up there. So put 7 up there.
So it's
So
not
that's
7.
it's gonna be part of that federal,
Yeah.
not
And
travel.
so there's 8, there's 8 things now,
Yep.
1 through 8.
No.
No?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8.
Oh, where's 6?
6 is down, compensation down at,
Compensation's here too.
we have procedures in place.
Yeah, but number 6, your number 6, compensation, payroll, and
Payroll.
policy, is
Okay.
under findings
So,
20.
It's not a
21.
separate policy though, it's still, so you've got all the
Well,
commas
so-
broken up into separate ones, and that's what kind of was throwing me, was trying to find where those were. So 6 is part of then that federal grant.
Oh, I see what you're saying, so we can have,
It's one policy.
we can have just one policy as long as all of this is in it.
Yeah, so there's
That's
2
what-
things
that's
that we
what we're
need.
working on.
The CFA is one thing.
What's
The
CFA
pop-
stand for? Could you-
I can't tell you.
Federal assistance, something
So
federal.
it's the
Yeah.
schedule of expenditures.
For federal assistance.
Yeah, there you go. See, Dawn knows.
Okay, so.
And then the other
moving right
thing is a
along,
policy. Having to do with the federal grants that encompasses a bullet point
Mhm.
addressing those items.
So what's the next step on 1 through 8?
It's Joe and,
Joe and Dawn are
Yeah,
on
we're
that.
still working on it.
And then after
Some of
that,
it-
We
well, some of
approve it
is-
at the next meeting.
oh, okay, that's all I
Okay.
wanted to hear.
Yep.
And see, that's why I asked, because I have
Yep.
not heard any update, and that's why I wanted it to be done
So we
this
don't need a
month, not
special
next
meeting.
month, in case something was
Not-
dropped,
no, not
and
now.
we could discuss it.
Well, why did we
later.
talk about a
We're good.
special meeting for so long?
Well,
the workshop.
Well, I think
talked about
we
it.
want to get those policies and we want to
But we
get
don't need a
those best
special meeting for
practices.
this.
Not for this, no. But once we get to best practices, once everything's organized of what we have,
And the auditor is gonna bless your document.
It-
Was working with them,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
So when you come in here in June, you're gonna go, they blessed it, amen.
Yeah.
So all we
Okay.
gotta do is say yeah.
And that's exactly why I wanted it on the agenda, so we could have the update. In case something was skipped or something, we could make sure that we were
Well, it's good that we
doing
did
our
this, because we,
requirements.
Yeah, when you were saying appendix, I'm going through the audit thinking, oh my gosh, are we missing a?
I used the wrong A
So,
word, I'm
yes,
sorry.
So I was like, oh. So anyway,
One of the
That's
things that
good.
you guys can take a look at, I know you were looking at the employee handbook. A lot of our payroll and compensation is covered in the employee handbook.
yeah, we're behind on that because it's so outdated.
Yeah,
No,
but
No,
those
it's
are-
not updated, we
updated.
updated it, we're just waiting for to be able to say, good, that
No,
the
we're
lawyer
waiting on the
checked it,
lawyer,
right?
right?
We're waiting on the,
yeah,
Yep.
Waiting on the
and kind
lawyer.
of put some of those other things in. So we're getting, I think we're making progress and we know we're on the right road with the
So
best
we won't be late,
practices.
that's all I have to.
Yeah, but we won't be
Yeah,
late
that was our
on
main
corrective
concern.
action plan.
that was my main concern, make sure everything's being covered in a timely manner, so it wasn't gonna hit us all in June, you know, because we have enough to.
Or not hit us and
No,
then
it's been
in
on my
trouble.
plate.
Okay. That's
Thank you.
Okay, then what? What about the rest?
Those are the best practices that we're gonna work on policies as we go. That's not a do today or die tomorrow situation.
Yeah, got it,
That's a-
but when do you think we're gonna do them? Because I thought that's what we were gonna do
Some
during
of these,
these
like I said-
workshops and stuff.
Some of these, like I said, in our employee handbook,
Right.
it covers compensation payroll policy is covered in there.
So Dawn's kind of going
Um,
through what Sue has, gathering it all
Payroll
together,
procedures we already have.
because
So
we've
we
never
just
had
need
a
to
book
put it-
of them.
We need to put
It's in
that
the
policy
Yeah.
in a policy booklet. That would be
Yeah.
so helpful if every board member had
So I guess
a
my only
policy.
question is, because this is not pressing, but we've been talking about it since January,
Yes.
I'd like to know, what's the timeline, what's your guess?
I can tell you when things slow down a little bit.
Well, think-
Yeah, no,
Let-
I'm
Come
telling you,
on,
I'm
Mike.
telling you.
Things are
Dan's
never
correct.
gonna, things will never slow down.
Well, I mean, look at tonight's agenda.
I
I
know.
mean, you know, this is just the way things are. We
Well, I
talk
think that's
about.
why you wanted to call a special meeting,
Yeah,
because
well,
things will never slow
we'll have a
down.
workshop, we'll talk about it.
A special meeting even.
I'm concerned about getting those items done that we absolutely have to get done.
Yeah, we still
Yeah, so
don't
am I,
have-
but looking
Well-
ahead, we've been talking about this since January. We can't kick the can down the road forever.
We haven't been kicking the can down the road.
I'm
I
talking
think it's
about.
on the radar and
Yeah.
that's more than it's ever been. And it's a good step and I think we will get there, but $6 million sewer project and a phase
Six,
2.
14.
14, 6 is on that. So, yeah, I mean, those are things, we can't afford to have our eyesight diverted.
I don't think a budget policy is diversion, frankly. If we had that, I'd be happy to hell with the rest. I'm
I think we
serious.
should do them all, but,
I'm,
yeah.
but if we were gonna prioritize,
That'd be your first.
that's number one for me. I mean, that's my only statutory duty, really, isn't it? Other than to show up.
And vote.
But
So other than those two, this is the only thing to me. And I know you got your own, I know you're busier now. But that's why I thought we were gonna call a special meeting so we could address that. And if we only address one, I'm a happy guy. I don't wanna go, frankly, I don't wanna
It's
go.
on the radar. It's on.
I just don't wanna go through what we went through last.
No, we're not going to. People have been working.
Okay, thank you, Bobby, thank you, Jan. Thank you.
Hang on, I got something on this. I never got the deficiency letter from anybody. I found it on the webpage 3 days ago.
Efficiency.
We got a deficiency letter, request for improvement of deficiencies from the Treasury on the 5th of January.
Everybody gets one of those. It's everybody, if you file an audit, you have any immaterial, how many do we find on the?
So that's the letter telling us that we have to do this.
And
It's
that letter, because I downloaded it and printed it, that letter required 3 things. One was the corrective action plans. But then something happened when we scanned. I found out that our number 6 wasn't even on there. They never got number 6. Let me show you. just printed this morning. Whatever we uploaded was missing number 6. Treasury doesn't have number 6. Here it is. So, and I think it was when it went through the scanner, because every other page was missing.
You have what, with scan?
So I got rid of the missing pages. So we just need to we need to upload number 6. This is printed right off of their website.
Did you receive
No.
correspondence?
Nope.
It says Dear Clerk, it says unit up at the top, doesn't it?
Yes,
Dear Clerk.
dear governing body,
Yep.
I think that's me,
Yep.
Yeah,
us.
I never
I'm
got
not sure.
correspondence from them.
We found that on the website, when you looked up, we talked about all the other townships that
Oh,
submitted audits.
Right.
And any immaterial, it's a
Yeah.
form letter that goes out. And what's the date on that, Bob?
January 5th.
That's a January 5th. So
January
that's a form
4th.
letter.
We're approved. January 4th, it's a form letter they send out to inform you that you have to do a corrective
corrective
action.
action plan.
All right, so
Yeah.
anyway,
I've seen that letter.
Yeah, because I sent that to everybody.
this letter,
Yeah.
That,
I never got it from anybody. This has been a big shock to me when I got it 2 days ago. I just went to the website, that treasury, I think you're the one that told me a few months ago to go there. It's
You can
called
see everything
Community Engagement or something.
yeah.
So I went down there and I downloaded this, so I would ask that you take number 6 and upload that, because they're missing that.
I'll go back and look, but I never got a,
And you can go to the website.
Yeah,
You don't have
but
to.
that letter, you know about that letter, because that's how we talk about the corrective action plan.
No, I've never seen this before, but it doesn't matter, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
As long as we get number 6 up, I'm a happy guy.
Okay.
You know, we,
Yeah,
because
So
it
number
looks,
6,
if
when
you
you get
down,
number
if you
6?
go to the website
memory.
and download what we uploaded, it's all kind of messed up in the scanner. And we're missing
Yeah, I
number
haven't looked
6.
at it on there, because I
so the
was here.
signature page is not on there?
No, ma'am. Here, this is, I printed this for you, because I figured you wanted it. Right, this is it, this is where it ended, so it's absolutely obvious that our scanner kind of messed up, because we're missing
Okay, I'll go back and
2021-06.
Well, they
Got it.
accepted our corrective action plan,
Yeah.
that, because it shows that right on the website.
Well, let's talk about that in a minute. So, we had to do the corrective action plan, but then, if I'm reading this right, we didn't approve all these disbursements. We have to, please provide descriptions of unauthorized disbursements as well as the amount of the unauthorized disbursement, and provide the most recent board minutes showing the approval of expenditures. Well, we did all that, but it's not on the, they don't have it.
They might not put all of that on the website, I mean,
Oh,
that's,
I FOIA'd them, they don't have it. I called the director twice, they don't have it. So,
when did you do this, Bob?
yesterday. So bank reconciliations we need to provide a bank reconciliation for the last month reconciled for the accounts in question. So we have to give that to them and upload it. So if we do that, then we're golden. Because the way it was explained to me, and our deadline was the 5th of February, 4th of February, 30 days. So the way Mr. Vaughn explained it to me, they only have 3 reviewers for 1,200 municipalities in the state. And they are now going through and looking at our submissions.
So they mark accepted, they don't tell the unit that they want something else from you?
They will.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
what he said was, I only have 3 reviewers for the entire state of Michigan. So we didn't start looking at stuff, you know, the day after it was due. It takes us quite a while, and we will get to everyone eventually. And if it's not there, we'll be sending out, another notice saying, where is it? So I just want to give us an opportunity to get ahead of this and have it all in there, because even though we had a deadline of the 4th of February, it doesn't really matter as long as we get it in.
Yeah,
Well,
so they
deadline-
rubber stamped, we could have sent Mickey Mouse and they would have rubber stamped it and said it was okay.
They didn't
That's
say
kind
it
of
was
scary.
okay.
Oh, yeah, it says accepted and approved in their system.
No, it doesn't.
Because I went in to, no, it does. I went in and looked to make sure, after Dawn said she submitted it, and not that I didn't trust Dawn, but to make sure that I saw our
Yeah, she
stuff
put
was
that
in. And yeah, we have
This is the
approval
letter.
from the Department of Treasury. So, I find that odd.
Yeah, I'm gonna call people, this is not, I'm not happy.
Oh, well, this,
No, that's the letter that says.
no, this is for the qualifying statement.
Yeah, we're qualified.
Yeah, I understand that.
You wouldn't be qualified if they didn't accept your audit and your corrective action plan.
On January 4th, this is dated January 4th. This is dated January 5th.
So they qualified us and then they unqualified us and didn't tell us?
No, they did not qualify.
Wait, okay, wait.
So what is it then?
No, so you need to
No, let me read
understand
this
that,
to you.
that the audit was uploaded in December. So as soon as the audit was uploaded in December, that's when they kicked the letter out saying you have corrective action plan items you
No,
have
as
to do.
I-
And I get that in, and I got that in, no, I walked through this.
Failure to
That.
respond within 30 days or inability to demonstrate corrective action has been implemented may result in a denial in subsequent years of qualified status. So I'm just asking, follow this letter. Get the 6th one up, right? Get these other 2 items up because we've already done them. And then when they go in and review us in the next few weeks, we're golden.
There. But yeah, it's bizarre though that, again, they would publish all this, create a letter like that, and not send it to the municipality.
They're telling us, well, it says sent via
So,
email.
I mean, obviously, if there's something we need to do, we need to do it, but.
Right,
that's-
I'm just saying,
I've
let's
never
do it.
seen the state operate in that manner.
You can call them, I've talked to them
I'm going
twice.
to.
I've talked to them twice, asked for Mr. Vaughn.
Yeah.
What's this? They got a phone number on there?
It's on the website. But the fact remains, you can qualify us all day on the 4th, but if we get a deficiency letter on the 5th, right, and it says in subsequent years, we may not let you borrow money.
But-
We've already done all the work, just upload what they're asking for and be done with it.
This
Don't take the
letter-
risk.
This letter is a result of the audit that was submitted to them on December 28th. That's when they
Don't they
said,
issue this every year?
Not if our audit was substantially bad, no, we
No,
would
they
not.
would not.
If it was deficient in,
If
there were major
three
if we
categories
were-
in the audit.
yeah,
And that was immaterial material weakness, and there was a deficiency, and there was one of the ones that represented you didn't do anything, you didn't even have it.
yeah. And
I know you've been doing this a long time, but I've been doing this for a long time too, in other places. And when I get something like this, I get my backup. I get worried.
well,
And I'm just trying
I mean,
to,
where is that though? Because the
I'm just-
letter that we got initially was to submit the corrective action plan.
and which we did.
That
there's,
is a letter.
what
So-
letter? I never saw a
Yeah,
letter.
it came into this meeting because it's what we talked about with
From
the
Treasury?
findings to get the corrective action plan.
From Treasury? It
Yeah,
wasn't,
Was it the audit, or was it?
the,
No, it was the
Yeah,
treasury, it was
I don't
the
know.
treasury, so it's the statement.
Because that all comes to you,
It's
yeah.
my email.
Anyway,
Let's
I
start
think we need
again.
to look
Let-
into this. We
let's
don't-
start
We don't need
again.
to keep talking about it. We
Let-
need to
let's
look
start
into
again.
it and
No,
take care of what
let's-
needs to happen.
can we submit these or not?
I don't.
You're gonna
I'm
call,
sitting
you're
here,
gonna
I
call
don't
Mr.
know.
Vaughn
I'm
tomorrow,
gonna
right?
call him, yeah, I'm gonna call him and ask him what happened to the rest of it, because as far as it was one document, this
Oh,
wasn't 6
I
different
don't
pages.
have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with that. We just send them,
Yeah.
the other one. I'm talking about, these other 2 bullets.
Yeah, I've never heard of those other 2 bullets.
But they're here in black and white, and I just wanna
That
make
you
sure.
pulled off the web.
No, it says
I
to-
filed a FOIA 2 days ago and got an immediate answer. This is all the documents there is. The
What, I just gotta ask this because this really is odd to me. what would make you file a FOIA?
Because I saw this letter.
Where did you see the letter? You said you
On
got
the
the letter because you
web, on
FOIA'd
the
it.
web.
Okay.
I
so
saw this on the web.
You went to the
So
web.
I asked them, you know, you have all this, right? And the answer was, all we have is what's on the website. The minute we get
Yeah.
it from the municipality, it goes immediately on the website. Everything is on the website. These other two submissions that we should have made were not there, and part of our corrective action plan were missing. I'm just glad I caught it so we can fix it. So when they go into review, we're golden.
But we might not be
No,
because.
we are. I'm
If
reading,
it's not-
I'm sorry, I'm reading this, and this is the deficiency. Okay, so if you look through this material weakness, right? Bank reconciliation frequency, right? That's one of them that they're saying about, where was it? Bank reconciliation for the last month reconciled in question. So provide a bank reconciliation for the last month in question. We answered this in here.
It didn't say to answer, it said to provide it.
To
We
provide
just
that-
need to
the re-
provide it.
The bankruptcy reconciliation document, not
They
to.
want the document.
Yes. they
I
want
would,
the
I would
doc-
like to read it. I don't think this is a discussion to be had here.
Okay.
I just think it's weird that our
Well, it's
office
a public
would have.
meeting, it's a discussion we need to have. If you
Well,
wanna
not
read
if we
it.
don't have all the facts, Bob. I mean, we need to
Let's-
read this
okay.
document and decipher it. And if there's documents that need to be submitted, absolutely they need to be submitted, but it's odd to me that the state would create a letter and not send it to the municipality when they're looking for documents.
They sent it to the municipality.
It says it, said it.
I asked them, you sent it, right? Yeah, we sent it by email.
So. we'll have to
Doesn't
see
even
where-
got it.
I don't get those, but I know when I went on, I didn't go look at a bunch of
let's look
stuff.
it up.
I just looked at,
Okay.
is the corrective action plan in there? Is it accepted? And it was
The
accepted.
totality, according to them, the totality of
okay. Yeah, I don't know any of
everything
that.
is on the web.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the audit's there, that letter's there, and
Okay.
part of the corrective action.
Okay, let's move on.
Perfect.
Don, we'll address that tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Okay, interagency agreement, Sheboygan County Road Commission, River Street detour. I have a couple questions for Chief. Sorry, buddy. We have a traffic control down there on River Street. They're gonna be, can y'all, everybody hear me? I'm tired of these microphones. Can everybody hear me in the back, Jim? Can you hear me? We're going to have interagency agreement with the Sheboygan County Road Commission. They're going to shut down to replace the bridge starting in the fall, the Old Linaway Road Bridge. And the detour is going to be traffic control over River Street, the old culvert. Now, there's supposed to be traffic control there, a light to let us go and without, I don't think the honor system would work there. But it would, you're going to, the agreement is that on River Street, whatever traffic messes up River Street, they're going to repair. My question is, how is that enforced, Chief, do you know? About load limits, weight limits and everything, you know?
Well, we don't have a scale, so.
Well, I mean, they're saying that, Jane and Pat know that pretty well. And some of the boats that go over there, they say that they can take their truck over there. Anything they drive, they can take over there. They're not worried about it.
That culvert's gotta have a weight limit.
Yeah,
Do we know what that is?
I'm not gonna guess because, what do their trucks run? How big are those trucks?
I don't know.
10 ton, 30 ton? I don't know what they are.
Loaded probably around 20 ton.
20 ton loaded? Okay, they said that but anyway, here's our question, and this is the agreement. We own the property, we're granting them an easement for the detour, and the construction season should start after Labor Day and be done 2 to 4 weeks. It's a real simple bridge they're putting in. It really, if someone on Navinoy has to go all the way back out Old Linaway Road to, 68, that's gonna be we want, my feelings are that it's, that's right, you live on Victor, so you're, what am I asking you for?
There's several of us in the room that would really like.
Has anybody talked to the fire chief? Are they gonna want?
I did, I talked to him and he said they're not worried about it. I asked about keeping something over on the other side, and they know that they can get over there, and they have a dry hydrant down there, and they're not worried about it. and they had their, you know, East Ball Lake, and so, anyway, did everybody get a chance to read that, from stem to stern?
Now, you said that it's gonna be like a 2 to 4 week project?
That's what they, again, I hate to say that, because that's what they tell me.
Right, right. Well, it could run over, but we're talking, you know, a small amount of time to replace the bridge, as far as I'm concerned. I remember the one in Alamson took like forever, and they had to cut off half, and then they did the other half.
Yeah.
Remember that? So that took like all summer,
Yeah.
you know? So if they're planning on 2 to 4 weeks. I'm impressed. You
No,
know?
I think it's a prefab that's going on. I mean,
Really?
it doesn't look like
It
it's
sounds
much.
like it would have to be.
It's, I think it's, you know about this, Kurt, but I think it's a big box with no bottom, just sits right on it. Isn't that right, Pat? You looked at the plans, didn't you? Yeah.
Well, I make a motion, we accept this.
Okay, is there support for that motion?
I will support that.
Bobby supports that. Is there any more discussion about this motion? No, roll call.
Okay, Kramer?
Yes.
Don, yes. Mike?
Yes.
Aye. Janet?
Yes.
Thank you, motion passed. Thank you. Road Commissioner Bobby, thank you too. You'll be doing a lot of work and hopefully it'll make things better.
Yeah, one question.
Yes,
School buses, which way they gonna go?
I understand they can use it.
Okay.
I mean, my concern is you say, how much dirt is on top of that
There's this
tube?
much dirt on top of that culvert,
Yeah,
not like that.
yeah. Well, maybe they're gonna boost it up. I don't know. I did. Okay, street sweeping contract, I called Northern Power Sweepers, and, can you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
Okay. So, power sweeping, they said they'll do it twice this year, the first time for $1,000, second time for $750, first time is, and generally the DDA, I think we could just offer to split it with the township. We've always picked up one, we've had 3 in the past, township would pick up one, the chamber would pick up one, and DDA would pick up one, but I think the third was always, really wasn't that necessary. So, we want to get him sometime before Memorial Day, or maybe just after Memorial Day, whenever he's really busy, but that is the bid, $1,750, we can split it with the DDA I'll offer. Right now, you have to approve $1,750, and I'll have to go back to the DDA and say, let's pick up 50%.
So if we split, it'd be like $875 a piece.
Yeah, something like that.
Why are we splitting it?
Because in the past,
Isn't our responsibility?
no, in the past, the DDA's picked up one, the chamber's picked up one, and the township has picked up one. They've done it 3 times. The chamber's not involved in it this year, and I think the third time is probably not as important as it has been in the past. For some reason, it really was useless. You know, it was not that
I just
busy.
don't want to take it into.
Well, let's approve,
I mean, isn't it a township responsibility really? What do you?
well, we've always done it. You know, we take care of the streets. We try and take care of, the DDA does and the township does too. And they're only going in the DDA here from River up to Barbara. Well, I'm not gonna say.
I'll go with whatever you say.
Well, I'm gonna say if you wanna pick up the whole thing, I'd be happy.
I'll just go with whatever you say.
Well, how's the DDA budget look?
We're in good shape.
If they wanna pick
I
it
mean,
up,
I think
they
you got
split it.
more important things to do than spend money on sweeping streets. DDA wise, right?
Well, it's just one of the things we do.
I know.
There's a lot of things going on.
However you want to do is fine.
A motion to pay $1,750 for the power sweeping, 2 power sweepings, and then I'll bring the proposal. I mean, we have to have you say $1,750, and I'll bring it to the DDA.
Okay, I'll make that motion.
Okay, Bobby makes a motion that we bid $1,750 for Northern Power Sweeping. Is there support? Don supports. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now the real contentious stuff.
Say what?
Christmas tree proposal. This is from the Women's Club. Can you read that? Any member of Women's Club has made the following proposal. The township will pay for the cost of removing the existing damaged tree, and the Indian River Women's Club pay the, I don't have that in front of me, what's that say?
For a new tree.
For a new tree. The new tree is to be suitable for
Growing
in our area, to be used for Christmas decorating. Our tree down there is just about had it. I mean, it's too big, it's got a flat top cut, it has had it. It's time to put a new tree in there. Doug, you know enough about this. We have, Dawn knows a little bit about it. She's in the tree business in her former life.
Yes.
They completed by fall planning, and you've called around, and you're with the Women's Club, so
Kelly, do you want to talk about
what we need
You
is
want me
permission,
to?
we need is permission to remove the tree. The township, it's township property.
Well, and it might be interesting to know that Women's Club planted the existing tree that's there now.
Really? When you were a little girl. When you were a
Sorry.
little girl.
She still
Before
is.
my time. I wrote the history, remember?
You remember history, that's it.
So I think the issue that we have, yes, we need to.
It's just, that's the only issue we're involved in. It doesn't really matter
To
what
take
the,
down the tree, but what North Star had told us just before the last meeting that they are not able to get us a new tree, so there was some concern. I called Tridan Farms up in Sheboygan to talk to them about the types of trees that they had. Specifically, we were looking at potentially the Black Hills spruce or, what was the other one, Doug? What did I say? Norway spruce. Black Hills, apparently there's a fungus disease that's been ruining the trees, so we want to stay away from that. The Black Hills, or the Norway, they do have, in about the size that we want, 15 foot. They're having trouble right now getting people to dig the trees. A guy with a spade, there's a problem with that, so, and materials. So he's gonna quote the new tree for the Women's Club. He also is gonna quote potentially taking down the oak tree. I think Doug's got a couple of people that are quoting both ways too. The only thing that he said that, Doug, you probably need to pay attention to is that don't grind the stump. He said leave the stump about 5 foot up, so, because he's got root cutters. If we want it in the same spot that it's in today, which the Women's Club would like that, then they want him to come with the root cutters and take it out.
Right, yeah, if it's
So-
getting spaded in, it would be spade out till it's done.
They
Then they
won't
put it right
spade.
back in the hole.
Yeah, so because I thought they would do, like, the guy that we worked with came out with a spade, he would bring the plug out and then spade the tree and take it to whoever purchased it, and the plug would drop in our hole, but he said he doesn't do that. They actually dig it, ball and burlap it, and then, they'll come out and he'll cut the roots out of, where the old one was. But he wants the stump left up 4 or 5 feet, so he can get some leverage. Okay.
Doug, would you have to hire that, have Views or somebody come take that tree down? You can't do that?
Well, I could, but the monument, the.
Yeah, okay, so, we'd have to, so,
Our work
Yeah.
is doing.
yeah.
So
What do you think that would cost to have, because it's the same, pay for the removal of the tree.
It was around, he was talking about $800-900 to take that and the stump. So I don't know, I'll ask him again.
Can we just do a not to exceed?
No.
How about we wait till we get the quotes and we got time?
Okay.
Yeah, nothing's gonna happen with it
But-
until fall.
Okay, so, but we're all in, well, let's have a motion that we are granting permission to remove the tree.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, is there support?
I'll support.
Bob supports, all in favor? Okay, thank you. Sand storage for the VA clinic site. I talked to Jeff, and I think you did too, Bob, about, they want to use the gravel pit out there on Broody Road to store the sand. They're going to be really moving a lot of dirt, and they want to store it down in the pit. They're going to be moving a lot of dirt. And we can work out a deal. Now, I don't know what the deal was, is that whatever they sell, they'll give us a percentage
No, they said they'd just pay us a storage fee.
storage fee?
Well, I think we should just be good neighbors and just let them do it.
let 'em
and
do it.
It
I don't
doesn't
have a
cost
problem
the
with that.
township anything to let them
Now,
put the sand there, so.
I would say something, I would encourage the supervisor to say something to the Jeff, like, you know, we don't wanna take your money, we're a good neighbor, but if you wanna make a donation, that's fine.
The other thing, go ahead, Doug, I was gonna ask you anyway.
You need to put some kind of time frame on there that they have to have it gone by, because right now, all you're doing is giving him permission to dump dirt and walk away.
Well, that's right now, I'm kind of curious about that. The other thing I was worried about was, maintaining that area, because it's used by dirt bikers and four-wheelers. And
Don't we want that filled in anyway?
do they go all the way to the bottom there with a dump truck?
No, they're not gonna go all the way to the bottom, he's gonna make a big pile of dirt.
Okay.
He's not gonna push it into a hole, he's gonna make a huge pile of dirt. And
It's
he's
gonna be
try
an
to
awful big
sell out
pile
of
of dirt, cause they're removing, what, 20 feet?
it. Right.
How many cubic yards is that?
150,000 cubic yards of sand
That's a
is
lot.
that they estimate.
Right, and if he's trying to sell it out of there, you're talking about keeping that open for him to run gravel trains in and out. He'll have excavators running in there and dozers and loaders, and it will be a working pit if he is going to try and sell his dirt out of there.
Well, I know he's gonna try and sell it, he already said that.
Yeah, he's made that clear.
Can you see, you know the area around there pretty well, can you see anywhere around the perimeter of that, because if it's going down just off the, off the cliff,
Right,
we're gonna have a pile of dirt there.
yeah.
Um,
Anyway, if he's trying to sell it, he's gonna wanna stockpile it in a manner that he can
Get to it.
get to it, and he's gonna wanna keep an open road
Uh-huh.
that trucks can travel in and out of there, and it is a recreation area.
How about we table this pending a discussion with his construction people about what they're going to do, because there is some more information that we need.
Right.
But they're trying to move dirt in less than 3 weeks.
Right.
We can get together and talk, all I gotta do is go talk to
But what you're saying is, one, time limit, right?
Time frame, yeah.
The other one is, what was your other concern?
Well, if he's gonna try and sell it out of there, he's gonna try and make a working sand pit.
So he has to
gravel pit.
restore,
But we don't want him in there working, I mean, the
Oh.
problem I'm having with is, if he's gonna make this mountain of dirt that he's gonna be selling out of, you've went by construction sites and you see the gravel trains rolling in and out, there's dust rolling.
okay, so what's the
there's-
solution?
That he either pays us to dump it there and shapes it off, we don't want him selling it out of our pit.
It could be there for
Well, that was.
He
a year and a half.
Yes, he could have it there for 10 years and still be trying to sell that dirt out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we put a time limit on it.
But we don't want him selling it out of there. If he wants to store it there and get it out of there in one fell swoop, I don't want trucks running out of there 7 days a week to get dirt that he's trying to sell.
I agree, he's golden, he's right. I think we should do exactly what he says.
What's the time limit?
1 year.
1 year? They start moving dirt July, well, they'll be moving first.
3 weeks.
Really soon now,
He said the first of the month.
yeah.
So that's like 20,000 truckloads.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a lot of dirt.
Mackerel.
Trucks.
So that's gonna stop all.
Well, I just think about what's that gonna do to that road there,
Yeah. it's
Up by
gonna
the-
Destroy it.
that's gonna be, there has to be another part of this discussion,
Oh,
because
oh
that's
boy, and that'll keep us from getting to the plant.
and that, and the fact that the dust that's kicked up right now impacts the hotel up there quite a bit.
Also impacts I-75 too.
I think we should authorize the supervisor to negotiate
Let's,
Well, Doug.
with Doug.
yeah,
Well, one point you have to keep in
with
mind, there's
Mike.
a shortage of sand. There's a shortage of sand and gravel. And so I think he projects selling this out rather quickly. We have to talk to him, but there is a shortage of that. So We have to just discuss this and see where we're going with that. I mean,
But Janet, we all know the issues now, we just trust the supervisors.
Yeah.
Doug and I will talk to
Take care
Jeff.
of it.
Okay,
Yeah, we just need to get with it.
okay.
No, and one thing about the VA clinic, I sent you all a note about attending the ceremony if you could on July 20th. It looks like it's gonna be moved to June 30th. Because Congress is in session, et cetera, and June 30th is the Gaylord ceremony. So, and, oh, by the way, there is a limit to 50 people at this ceremony because of federal code restrictions, so. When I turned your name over to the VA person that's doing it, if you want to bring a spouse or something, just shoot me a note.
Okay.
As soon as I get an exact date, time, I'll let you know.
So we have to have that discussion, and then you granting permission to Mike and Doug to work a deal?
Can I make that motion?
Okay, is there support?
Let's make it
Okay, Jan supports, all in
board
favor?
number one.
Okay, ARPA wish list. You told last meeting to go out and get some prices. Replacing the fascia, now I only got one price, I mean, I got one bid, because that was just, it gives you a general idea what it is.
But nothing on the emergency generator, right?
I don't have, what was the cost on that? Because I put down, you used 5,200 was for the gas line, wasn't it?
You sent out a whole thing, didn't you?
Well, I got that right there.
Oh, I thought you wanted an emergency generator for this building at one time.
No, I don't think, I think that's gonna be,
Okay.
no.
The emergency generator was $85,000 was the low that Mead and Hunt got, plus $5,500 from the gas company. But I want to point out that a condition of our EGLE grant that we're going to talk about is to do this generator. So you could scratch this if you want
Okay.
to.
yeah,
Okay.
because that was one of the conditions of that.
Okay. Well, here's Luke wish list, and I think Chief's in on this, libraries in on it. This is generally in the area, with the exception of one or two things. Replace the fascia around the outside with a synthetic, we got a quote of around 17,000. Seal coat and stripe the parking lot, 4,200. Air handler is 16,950, that's a new air handler. We have 3 down there. This would be the one we're having problem with. Or we can just replace the coil for 2865 roughly.
Oh, you mean one or the other?
Yeah, we can,
Well,
I don't know.
How old's
a
the current?
Band-Aid or,
Well, right.
How old is the current air handler?
Well, the current air handler's been in there since 95 when they opened the
Oh, it's
building.
gotta go.
But they replaced the guts when we
We
did.
can't put these people through.
When we did the heating
Say it
air,
out loud.
it's horrible.
heating air conditioning
Kelsey.
here, hold on for a second. When we did the heating air conditioning a few years ago, we replaced the inwards of everything.
It doesn't work.
But this one is just, we have nothing but problems with this one.
Do we have to do the handler and the coil, or is it one or the other?
No, it's one or the other. Coil is just another Band-Aid.
Scratch the coil.
Let's
Okay.
scratch that,
Okay.
Are we voting today?
Well, I
kinda, sorta.
Kinda, sorta.
Or discussing first. What is a makerspace thing?
That's libraries, wish for, Kelsey's giving me that downstairs, a makerspace, a sink. We're
Yes.
gonna retool that bid too, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah, I tried to get a hold. We've talked with. Actually, we met the Pure plumber guy, and he was supposed to give me a quote today. He had a problem with his QuickBooks, something or another, and I never got it. So I'm just waiting for him. And then I'm also just gonna stop at Home Depot and get a quote on like a already built up counter and
Sure.
sink whole
Yeah,
thing.
I
Yeah.
think that'd be quite a saving.
So when I get that, I'll send that over to you.
Okay. The outside sign we've talked about, I've talked to Kelsey and we've talked to Chief. It's a sign from Hill Mountain Sign that does our road signs and our township property signs, has the insignia on it. It's a pretty cool sign. It stands about 6 or 8 feet high. It would be up tight to the flagpole here. The bid on that is $63.80 for the outside sign here. We do have problems with people walking in here. Where's the police department? We have people walking into, not knowing.
Oh, they're directional signs?
No, it's just it's a big,
Mm-hmm.
it's just a new sign for out front. Because all we have is a sign that's on the gable out front. You can't see that from the road when you drive.
Yes.
I can tell
Yeah, you
them
don't
the
even know where
biggest,
the township is.
I can tell you the big brick building in the middle of town or just past the middle of town
Uh-huh.
with a flagpole and they drive right
Yeah, I
by.
got it. Changing tables for the bathroom.
Basement tile downstairs, we peeled it up how many years ago, Doug?
What's that?
We peeled up that basement tile
2 years ago.
2 years ago and it's been done, needs to be replaced.
Okay.
The makerspace we spoke about, changing tables. Library has had a lot of children that come in there and they need to go in and change a diaper
In the bathrooms.
in the bathrooms.
Yep, they've been using our makerspace
Do
room.
we have them?
So,
I believe
love
so.
for that.
Yeah, there's room.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
And isn't the defib unit a requirement these days?
Well, I understand, do you have a question?
Well, at some point.
Okay. You have some things you want for parks in there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that.
Okay, changing tables, defib unit is 14 to 100. There might be grants for those things too, for defib units, but police vehicles, chief, we have to have that discussion. Is that correct figure right there, 106,000?
Yes.
And we've,
For the 2 new Tahoes and the outfitting of the 2 Tahoes.
So if you took the chief's budget, that he already budgeted for those vehicles, he'd still be $58,000 in the hole, correct?
Correct.
So 58's the number there, really, that.
But on the other hand, if we went ahead and used the ARPA money,
All of it, 106.
all of it to pay for the vehicles, he could use that money that he's got set aside to pay down on the
retirement,
pension.
yeah.
We can't use ARPA money on pension. He can, but we can use it on vehicles. We are allowed. So I think that might be a good thing to discuss, that we go ahead and use some of that ARPA money for the vehicles so he can use the other money for his pension thing,
So then would we up the pension, because right now we're gonna pay in an additional $100,000 this year into the pension plan in a lump sum.
Well, that's good, but we owe $1 million, so it's like whatever we can throw at it is good.
no, we don't have to.
So you're talking about putting 150,000 into the pension then?
148, I guess, because we'd have 100,000 left over. What we budgeted.
And we have how many officers gonna retire in the next few years?
Half the department.
Yeah.
In the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, 10 years.
So that 10-year projection for MERS is way off because of the retirements.
That in the economy, the way it is, they're not making the money on the stock market like they expected, so the MERS money will be
But they
all.
did good last year.
Yeah, they did good last year.
Okay, let's move on.
This year.
Police vehicles, and then the club road, I think that's out of the picture now because.
Well, hang tight. Let me ask you about that.
About club road?
Yeah, so wouldn't it be reasonable if you ever decided to do Club Road, that the residents should pay something?
I don't know, Scott, what do you think? I've talked about it in the past.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
very open about it. This is
Yeah.
what happened last time. They wanted the residences in like 13 houses.
Yeah,
Some of
about
them were
2,500 apiece. That was
Yeah,
too
it
much.
Yeah, it was fairly steep. They wanted us to pay half. The traffic counts say 2,000 vehicles a day go through there. Those residents, what percentage they account for that is minimal. And the residents are driving passenger vehicles. We're not driving the big trucks that come in or the boats. That's the issue. That's where our objection was. I don't think there would be an objection to paying a reasonable
That was your initial response to me when I talked to you about it, as long as it was fair.
Yeah, but we gotta be fair to the people that also pay for Chippewa.
Wait a minute, no, not necessarily, because I've contacted Tuscarora Township and Mullet Township, and I said, you know what, your people use this more than we do. Going back and forth from Burger King or the Expressway, or at 68, and I got I got the, what are the digits?
That issue came up on Plymouth Beach and where was Eagles Nest too. I mean, that's part of the problem, is you have people outside of the township are driving.
Bird Township.
Although
Sure.
everybody's paying county taxes.
So I mean, we had a chance, it's not this year, 25,000 from the road commission, and we could have used, but that's all expended now, we don't win next year.
Doesn't the state of Michigan have to pay part of this?
Yes, they do, yes, they do.
Because they have half the property.
Yeah, we have a a special assessment list made up. And the state of Michigan is on there, Burger King is on there, and everybody all the way to about, I wanna say, is it about 100 feet from Martha? Where they turn right and
It's
pave.
about 2/3 way through my property.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's where they did what they did is they did the intersection of Martha and, what do you call it, an apron area or something? Which came down, it comes about 1/3 of the way onto my property, I guess, the north end.
Right, right. Well, that's something we can look at. I mean, we have more wishes than we have money up there. New parking lot lighting, $15,000. I talked to Jeff Miller, just give me an idea what your labor would cost. It's about just shy of $13,000 for 2 new light posts and 4 lights. And 4 lights.
Why? We need them.
Those things are rotted out at the bottom, aren't they? They're about shot. And then what kind of lights are those?
They're the argon gas, they aren't even LEDs, they're.
No, these are LEDs that are, and they're gonna be light fixtures that look like what we have on the road.
I have one addition.
Yep.
Bathrooms to go beach.
That's a good one.
Parks ain't got the money, and
But
it's
that's
not gonna
a
be
big
cheap.
ticket item. And-
It's not gonna be cheap.
And you brought up about, Bill, I think it was part of the infrastructure bill that they were putting out for parks and refurbishing older parks. Remember, it was a
Hasn't
1.6.
passed yet.
It hasn't passed, okay, because I called John Mays at the,
Hadn't passed yet.
okay. There's something out there for parks.
It's in the governor's budget.
Yes, Jan?
A couple months ago, I had a discussion with Doug about tree work at either one of the cemeteries. I don't see that up there. I don't know if you considered that. I don't know if it's eligible for that.
It is eligible for it, yes. Cemetery
The building
upgrades are
will
eligible
also
under our
need work.
I don't know what changes they've made. Initially, they said cemeteries were eligible, but you had to prove that you needed more space.
Okay.
Because you had so many.
Okay, I'll look at the article, that I was reading and get back with you on the details of that, because I have some information on that, so.
Getting
Thank
back
you.
to the bathrooms, the expense is gonna be removed. Doug, how hard is it gonna be to remove that tank? I mean, are we gonna literally have to pick up the building? How would
Yeah,
that work?
everything goes out of there.
No,
You have to start over?
Right, you'd build new bathrooms,
Oh, boy.
you would take down the old outhouses, crush the covers, and fill the tanks that were there, leaving them in place. And then your new building would be tied into your septic system, your sewer.
So we need an entire new building.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think that might be a good thing to discuss, trust fund grant again. We better get
Yeah.
back in our old contacts, Sally.
Because if you're gonna do bathrooms down there, Bob, they need to be heated so that we can have.
But we don't have a
year-round
choice,
facilities.
we have to.
Yeah, we have to do that. I
We
talked
either
to
have to
Mrs.
do it or we have to close it all together.
Right.
I think you ought to close them.
I disagree,
Go.
there's way too much traffic down there.
Well, I know that they have to go
I just
because,
know
There's a ton of
that,
usage.
you know, that they can come as far. We've got these that we have to keep open because they were paid for by DNR.
yeah.
And,
Well, I think when the time comes, let's cross that, let's burn that bridge when we come to it.
Let's flush that toilet when we come back.
Yeah, okay, listen,
What about the additional gravel you and Gordon and I talked about for?
Right.
yeah, gravel, I didn't get a price on that. Forgot all about it.
So we identified, I think, 5 roads. We talked to the road commission about, some of the roads that we can't do special assessments on, we can't afford to pave. But, our gravel budget just isn't enough
Okay.
to keep these roads up to
Okay.
the level. We have roads that are impassable at
Yeah.
times in our
Like?
township. Well, Victor Drive, I broke my car on Victor Drive earlier this.
Kelsey, you got a comment?
I just
Love
wanted
you.
to say, I didn't see on the list, but I got you those quotes for the handicap power doors.
Oh, yes, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, forgot those, yeah.
Yep.
4 roads.
It was around, I know the one that I found from Amazon was like a little less than 700.
Right,
And it would be a
right. I'm sorry, I forgot all
self-install.
about that, handicap doors.
That needs to be looked at because that is, requirement, I have to fill out paperwork for USDA
Yeah,
and
accessibility.
accessibility is
Oh,
on
yeah.
the list.
Okay, we'll look at that. I'm
Do you
very.
want all 5 roads? Just, I don't want to say my road. So we have Victor, Rogers, King,
King's a big road.
there's parts of it.
They
Isn't
just
that
need
one?
gravel on the
You've got
hills.
the list. Mike has the list.
Yeah.
We identified 5 that we get complaints
Wobbin,
about regularly.
Wobbin Road, I
Wobbin,
think
yeah.
Michael, Rogers.
Wobbin's a mess.
Yeah,
I think we got.
yeah. And we don't have enough in our gravel budget for. Mike was gonna talk.
I talked to Travis, but we talked about the bridge. No, because I'll be wrong.
All right, so I went down your list.
We're not done yet.
Oh,
Jennifer,
sorry.
Jennifer, go ahead.
In addition to, we need a new bathroom.
So what if? So if we put 60 towards the building and we said, we got another quote on the lights and maybe look at a different option or see if we could get that down. If the makerspace sink is gonna come in lower, we could leave it in as a project with the condition that it's gonna come in lower than that. That should cover all the building. That would leave us 62,000 to put towards the police vehicles, if you're doing those 2 things right now. If you wanna try and fit, are we gonna try and do defib under a grant?
No, I added defib in my.
Oh, you added your, okay, so that counts in there.
Yeah, if you just add up, since you got a calculator,
Yeah.
fascia, seal coat, air handler, sign, tile, sink, tables, defib, and parking lot lights.
Did you include the outside sign?
Yep. How many people here know how to use a defib unit?
Oh, wow.
What do you have? Chief does. How many people have actually had to do it?
Tells you how to use it. You open it up and it tells you.
Well, there's a training. We have to go through training. Yeah. Let's bring it to order, people.
Okay. So are you saying like not the sign right now?
I'm gonna say the fascia is like a gotta have.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
the air
The
handler.
air handlers a gotta have.
Yeah.
So those 2 we need.
I think the parking lot it's getting pretty nasty out there, isn't it?
Yeah, the Gordon's area needs more attention than that, but,
That's because of drainage and stuff.
yeah,
there.
because it's never built right. Mike, let's not forget about the steps underneath
Oh,
to the bridge.
yes.
That's.
Oh,
That's
bad.
big. And you're gonna do that in wood.
That'll get us sued.
Correct.
Yeah.
Fix it.
Yeah, we need to
Let's,
fix that, or we need to close it till the summer.
How much?
I haven't been able to get a bid on it.
Okay.
I've got 2 guys, but I would say you're probably looking at the 20,000 range. By the time that much womanized, we're gonna redo the whole stringers,
That's what ARPA money's for.
everything.
Price of wood nowadays, that's what it is.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
yeah, it's just because everything's so expensive.
So then fascia, air handler, basement tile, is that a gotta have?
I'd like to get that taken care of, and it's not that expensive.
Yeah.
We'll just get the gotta have first.
Okay.
So steps.
Those are a gotta have.
Air handler.
Excuse me.
You got your calculator on?
Alright, so I've got fascia, air handler, and stairs right now.
So what's that for?
53,950.
You need to round that up substantially, because you know what's gonna happen. Call it
Defib, I think we're calling that a gotta have, right?
Yes. And I think the changing tables are a gotta have.
Well, for $200, it's not an issue, I don't think.
Put my name on it, I'll pay.
Doug, we have to assume a lot of these things, like the changing tables, or is this gonna be something you may have
Bob's
to
table.
see if it's possible to do? Because we say 200, the labor's gonna be another 200.
Right, yeah, no,
Yeah.
some of that stuff we can,
Right.
wintertime is great.
Did you have a quote for the power doors?
Yeah, I gave everything to
It was
my.
about, I saw them all the way up to, well, there's some that you just.
700?
Yeah, 700.
Yeah, it
But
kind of
I saw
depends
some that you
on-
take completely, change out the doors. This is just a little unit that goes
Yes.
up on them.
Yep, and it's a self-install. It's probably your best option. The other stuff I gave you was like if you were to replace the whole thing
Yeah.
with, and you don't want to do that.
So call it.
So, and it's, the one that we found, you literally just hook it on there and then it connects to a remote Wi-Fi and that's it. And then you have your two buttons.
So let's say that's a gotta have, because we already know we have to, it's been identified, right,
Okay.
for USDA.
So 1,000 I put in for that.
2-inch steps, the handicap doors.
We're working on the building right now.
We're kind of like looking around 57,000. Are we talking about the seal strike too?
Yep. Oh, I don't.
Yep, I got those there.
Okay.
Bobby's in.
57,220 I'm at with fascia, air handler, changing tables, defib, handicap doors, and the stairs.
Ooh, I like that.
So we,
So it's what,
so we didn't
57?
include the seal coat on the parking lot.
It's not a
Changing
must-have.
tables, defib.
So the must-haves, Bobby, were how much?
57,220.
So we call it 65.
65, not to exceed 65.
Yeah.
You're gonna make that motion, right?
Somebody make a motion not to exceed 65,000 in ARPA money for updating our gotta haves.
I will make that motion.
Bobby makes that, is there support?
I'll second.
Don?
Do you want me to repeat the items again? Or got it?
Yeah, would you do that one time?
Yep. Fascia,
Yeah,
air handler,
yep,
changing tables,
yep,
defib unit,
yep,
handicap doors,
yep.
and stairs to the river.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
So what would we have left?
Well, we have 122.
Somebody should know.
65?
57. 57.
So it's 57,000. And we have another 153 coming.
So we could
We could still address police vehicles.
police vehicles with 57,000 because that would only have Gordon have to pull 1,000 out of his fund balance.
Is that
Use
what
what he has in his budget. We pay 57, he has to pay
Is that what you wanna do?
1,000 out of the fund balance. I think that's a good,
Okay, go ahead.
okay? That's my next motion.
The motion is to,
57,000.
57,000 toward new police vehicles and outfitting.
Yes,
For now. We can have more later, right?
yes.
If we just.
And the support is support? Bob supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Very good. Okay, salary resolution, this is something that's required if we want to let the electorate vote at the annual meeting. It's a salary resolution that has to be passed by the board. This is for all 4 positions, trustee, clerk, treasurer, and an individual. The trustee, clerk, treasurer, and supervisor. Those are what the salary resolutions are. The new salary would be $43.67 for the trustees.
Which is
3%,
increase.
3% increase.
I make a motion that we forego any salary increase this year due to the economic situation.
Is there support for that?
I'll s-
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye.
Should.
Don, did you vote?
I have to.
Yes, you do. I think in the span of 12 years I've been here, I think there've been maybe some total of 3%. And you gotta remember, people, I don't mean to sound this like a lecture. This is the position, not the personality. There'll be people coming in here after us. And I know that the amount of time that everybody puts in at these jobs. And I know that we've said that in the past, let's forego several times, several times we've done that. And I just know that don't know how long I'm gonna be here, but I don't wanna see someone looking at, I can't afford that much time. Or whether it's a trustee, treasurer, or clerk. So we have a motion, and I'm gonna ask one more time, a motion to forego salary, and that's motion is by Jan, salary increases this year, supported by Bob.
Let's discuss it a little bit.
Yep.
I know what Bobby does, and she ain't getting paid enough. I'll tell you straight up, because you schooled me when I first got here. So there's no doubt about that. And the other two I'm concerned about, trustees shouldn't be getting it. It's public service, you come once a month. And I understand your point, I really do. Especially in regards to the treasurer, the other three positions. But, we got a 10% inflation rate. People are having trouble putting food on the table, gas in their cars. I would support this if I wasn't worried about getting the rest of our work done that we discussed earlier, and taking care of other employees first, such as, I know we jacked up the office assistant, I know we jacked up Terry, but I worry about those two because of the high inflation, and I worry about Doug. I mean, 10% inflation rate we got right now. And even last year it was 6%. My social security went up 6%. I mean, so, people are paying us to work here literally. So I think we should take care of them first, fix our problems first, and then talk about it.
See, so this is how this works, Bob. I appreciate that input, but this is the thing, we can discuss whether we want it to go in front of the people to vote on. That's what we're discussing. We're not discussing whether we deserve a raise or not. Sometimes just, we want to give the people that opportunity, because they have said no in the past. And we've sat here in annual meetings, and people have stood up, no raises this year. So, I mean, and I understand, I absolutely know where you're coming from. I do.
I just think if we took care of some other things,
Well,
we'd have a better case.
I'll tell you what we've done in the past, and we've done this in the past, is that the CPI, everybody and the police would be different, but do we use a police contract? Because Doug and everybody would get raises according to the workers. I think we did that in the past, we would use the CPI or whatever the police got. So it's 3.25 or 3.3 is what the CPI is this year, right?
Inflation's 8%.
What?
That's the inflation, consumer price index is what.
Not now, it ain't.
That's the figure that when you look at your tax bill, that's how much your taxes went up from last year. 3.3%.
So it's not really inflation difference.
It's not inflation, it's a different thing, it's consumer price index.
Isn't Social Security CPI?
It's 8.5%.
Right now it is. Yeah.
The
As of
CPI?
March of '22.
That's the inflation rate. Inflation rate.
Consumer Price Index, 8.5% for the month ending March of '22, following a 7.9% rise from February '21 to February '22.
Well, that's gotta be a different, because we get ours from the state, it tells us what our consumer price index is. And they take different cities.
That's fantasy.
Commodities. Well, yeah, I know it, but could you imagine that your taxes go up 7.9%?
I'm not really, I'll also be honest with you, I'm not happy with I mean, I know you guys really worked hard on the police, but when you were working on it, we didn't know what inflation was gonna do. I mean, you worked your tail off on that, and then boom.
That was just 2 weeks ago, 10 days ago.
And we knew it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I know, but, and God bless you for doing it, but.
Yeah.
So the treasurer from Grant Township, the MTA they have a template that they sent out, salary study that they sent out. And I have to tell, and I participated, so I put everybody's salaries in. the study.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And I have to tell you that Tuscarora Township is at the bottom of the heap from the salary,
Oh,
out of all of
I
that.
could imagine, I would say you're right.
But I would agree with Bob in saying that now is not the time to address that issue. That's,
Yeah, no, but I'm
that's
just
not-
saying that 3% wouldn't even get you anywhere near caught up
No.
with
No.
any of them.
and so, I mean, you could look at it that way, 3% isn't changing any of our lives. It is not.
Right. That's exactly right. If we forego it, it's not gonna change
Yeah.
our
It's
life
not.
at all. We all have
But-
other incomes
But
coming in.
by the same
But-
token,
If we keep
Every
doing
little
this,
bit
you're never
helps
gonna catch
getting,
up.
like Mike's saying.
I'm not worried about it, it doesn't change my life. I'm
Yeah.
just thinking about this next generation that's gonna look at this, you know.
But the point is, you know, we all ran knowing what the income was gonna be, and we're still gonna be in here in 2024. And I think that if we just let it slide until the economy is so crazy and people are really scared or they're really suffering and people are concerned with where this is going. I mean, when our president says there's going to be food shortages in America, people start paying attention. And if you go to the grocery store, you will see shortages. You go to the gas station, you see diesel gas, which is, everybody has, or most everybody has a tractor or something that runs on diesel, almost $6 a gallon. We have to be concerned about where the people is, and because if we can vote ourselves, or we're not voting ourselves, we're asking the people to give us that. But the point is that we have to be concerned with the people first, and I think we should show some restraint this year, just see where this economy is going, and then if we want to deal with it next year, we deal with it every year. We ask if we need a salary resolution every year, but I think we should have some restraint this year, because who's going to pay for that 3%? They are. They are, and can we justify taking that money out of their pockets? I cannot.
do
And that's
we
where I
only get
stand.
one bite at the apple every year?
Yep.
Yes.
This is it, tonight, you know?
And that's where I stand. I cannot ask these people to pay us 3% more when we have alternative income coming into our house. That 3%, like you said, is not gonna make us or break us.
But
I
it
respect
could,
that, but
it could
it's,
hurt them.
I respect that, I really do, and it's very empathetic, it really is, and I feel the same way. But I look at the position, and I look at the time, and the time's gonna come when each of us are gonna step down, you wanna see someone that wants to do it, and it's not keeping up. I mean, I think salary for clerk and for treasurer, when I got elected 12, 13 years ago, was around 23,000. This is, just doesn't, it's not keeping up with, I mean, it's.
so every year we do that, we're saying we're not gonna keep up.
I would rather give it to the people to say, okay, now, and if they say no, that's fine with me.
I don't even wanna ask. I wanna be a leader on this and say, we will sacrifice any 3% increase because we're concerned about our people, our constituents, our neighbors, that we will take the lead on this and say, we're gonna be upfront and we'll take the hit.
And at the same time, we need a salary review. I think we're due in June anyway, according to the handbook.
Well, this is it, so it's not this year, so it'll be
No, I mean
next.
for other employees.
Oh, for, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
The employee handbook
Yeah.
says June, right?
But yeah, this only happens now.
That's
But
where I'm at.
I want to clarify that when we say you're taking 3% from the people, they're not paying 3% out of their pocket. It's not, they're not being additionally taxed. It's coming out of the general budget of what is already there. So it's
But we
it's
have
just
so
moving
many
the
other,
money.
but we have so many other expenses, like in parks, you just said that they're like $176,000 in the hole for repairs. We have a lot of places this money needs to go. It doesn't need to go in our pockets.
And I
We
don't think 3% one size fits all, because I know what you do. So maybe you ought to get 8, and maybe I get 0. Right? And maybe she gets 6. But That's neither here nor there.
How about me?
You can pay us.
You'll tell.
Yeah.
You'll tell.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
it's
have
just
a-
an uncomfortable conversation.
No, I don't
because
think
it
so.
is.
I don't think so.
I don't
because
think it's uncomfortable.
I've
See, I do,
12,
just 'cause I
13
think
years,
it's-
I watched it, and it doesn't matter, and I've looked at my friends out there go, all against the raise, I'm voting no. My friends have stood up, and I vote no. And I have no problem with it.
Oh, I know, I agree, but because it's not the person and we know that us personally it doesn't affect, but I am concerned at what point are we gonna look at these salaries and go, when the clerk position opened up, every amazing person that I talked to went, I'll make what? You want me to do what? I get no benefits? What? Click,
Well,
I
3%
mean,
won't affect that.
no,
No,
that, but
we've been doing
3%,
this.
we would have been
We've been
getting
doing this
3%.
year over year.
We haven't done, we've done 3% in 12 years probably, so by not doing it in small increments, at some point, we're gonna have to
I would
hit
have
it
supported it last year.
hard, and that's
We,
gonna
we
be.
for what Janet said, we forego, we passed on it, didn't we, last year?
Yeah, we
We
do.
did for the same reason. And we'll do it again next year. Because we just don't know
Because it
what's gonna
doesn't
happen.
affect us.
Yeah.
You know, we know we're working for this, and we're obviously okay with being a public servant, so, but planning for the future, so now, you know, it's 3% a year and it's a small amount, then at some point, it's gonna be a 30 or 40%, and how's the budget gonna handle that?
We have actually had 1 or 1.5%, you know, requests for raises. We've got really small, we're really small.
You gonna vote on each of these individually?
We're supposed to.
Cause I don't.
Okay, let's start over, we have let's start with the trustees then.
I know, we got a motion on the floor.
For the
Did
trustees.
we decide?
67 a year, all in favor?
Whoa, whoa,
You know what?
motion
You know what?
on the
Point of order, point of order.
It's a,
Didn't we have a motion on the floor
Yeah.
made by Janet, seconded
Yes.
by me, to
Yeah,
forego?
forego
This is for
all
salary?
salaries.
All of them?
Wait, okay, so he's right, we did, we had a motion.
Okay.
And so, and I was the only one that didn't vote. So what was the motion again? It was to forego
Forego any
Yes.
salary increase for this year.
for this year, and I'm gonna say no, not forego. Not.
Okay, 3 to 2,
So,
got it.
so 3 to 2,
so you're saying yes?
yes.
Okay. So that for all of them?
No, that's only for the motion.
So that was for all
All of them.
of them, yes.
You haven't even, no, I think you have to do, because
Each one
each
individually.
one
We will
individually.
now, right?
Each one individually.
We will now.
Yes, trustee salary, resolution, you would make
Absolutely not.
4367, roll call.
Kramer?
No.
Webb?
Webb, yes. Ridley?
Yes.
Bowden? Jan?
Would you vote, Bobby? No.
Supervisor salary resolution, $25,165 salary, not performing assessing. Roll call.
Kramer?
No.
Webb, yes. Ridley?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Janet?
No.
Clerk salary resolution would be $25,165. Roll call.
Kramer?
Who's this for?
Clerk.
Clerk.
No.
Webb, yes. Ridley?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Janet?
No.
Treasurer salary resolution, $28,716 for the treasurer. Roll call.
Kramer?
No.
Webb, yes. Ridley?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Janet?
No.
Okay.
I think I would just assume let the people decide.
Yes.
It's theirs.
Okay, next item is the EDU grant. Bob, you know more about this than I do. I've read it.
So we have a choice today. I gave you the draft. Do you have any questions on that?
Nope. Just, it was $1.821 million
Right.
from Eagle.
But I just want to point out, it's reimbursable. So we pay, we give them an invoice, we get it back.
How does that affect the special assessment district? Is there any effect on that, or is this stuff we talked about?
This is only for phase one and the Burger King pump. That's all it can be used for.
Okay.
And I
So-
didn't really see that. I mean, I saw phase one kind of,
Look at the very last page.
yeah. So where do I see the pump? And is that the an
It's the
emergency
very last
generator at
sentence.
the lift station to
It's the
ensure?
very
okay.
last sentence.
So that's
The
good
emergency
enough.
generator.
Okay.
So the EGLE board met today, supposedly, and they were to sign this agreement, but I called Dr. Hardity and I couldn't reach her. I've sent her emails, so we can either table this until June, until we get a signed copy from EGLE, or we can just authorize Mike to sign it when it comes. It's totally up to you.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and authorize Mike to sign it as long as there's no changes with the draft. If it's exactly the same as the draft, which I'm assured that it is, so,
But this is a draft, so you can't really sign a draft. And
no, no.
No, when it
We're
comes.
giving
When it
him
comes.
authorization to sign the contract as long as there's no
Yeah,
changes.
no
Yeah,
substantial
what-
changes.
Changes.
When the
Yeah.
executive
changes
director
whatsoever.
signs it.
My only other question, the other sources of funding, so we can have other grants, the way I read this, is we just can't say, here's 10 widgets and we ask the state to pay for it and we ask somebody else. We submit one receipt, one place,
So,
but we can have
it-
other funding.
And if we were to use this, there's a danger here. If we were to use this money for something that is already in the phase one project with USDA,
Okay.
they will offset. So we have to be very, very careful. That's why we had to spell it out. So we can use it for cost overruns. So if the bid comes in $1 million high, we just have to call them, talk to them, get their permission, we can use it, right? And then if there's any money left over for that, we can use it for individual septic abatement. But not only for residences, not for businesses, not for churches, not for clubs, clubhouses, Airbnbs.
So this can be, we can do this in draws, we're not gonna take all one
We
point.
have to do it.
That's one of my questions. We can do this in draws, we're not gonna take all 1.8 million
No,
at one time.
No, this
we
is
have
like
to-
reimbursement
Just
thing.
like USDA.
Well, yeah, I get that, but we have to spend it and then we get it back.
Yes,
So you
Yes,
can do it in small draws.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, there's a reporting period, so it's a 3-month.
Oh, and this is through, I believe,
25.
should be
And
25.
then
Yeah, May
second-
15th, 2025.
Okay, is there a motion to allow me to sign the authentic
I made the motion
final?
already.
You made that motion, is there support? John supports, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you, good work. Public comment? Public comment? Yes, Pat?
Want me over there?
No, you can do it from there, because you're on.
Okay, the board has constantly addressed the parks needing to raise revenue. I have two proposals I'd like the board to consider. I would like the board to consider revising their opinion on allowing medical marijuana or recreational marijuana dispensary in this township. This past payment in June, or not in June, but April, was $65,000 to every township that had a dispensary for each dispensary. That's $65,000 that we are allowing to go otherwhere, like Mentor Township is just putting in a growing farm, which would be good to have had up at the industrial park a few years back when we were approached one up there, which would have had 25 jobs. that money has to go into the general fund, but it could also be earmarked for parks. The second proposal I would have is I talked to one of the board members last meeting about the sand situation for the VA clinic, about charging a fee for the trucks to deposit the sand there with a time limit on how long it was going to be there, taking into account the fuel costs of transporting that sand. I was told then that they didn't want to do that because they already had the dirt sold and someone else would be driving it out of there, not the people building the VA. I would like to know sometime how that person changed their opinion, thinking maybe they were going to get a free deposit place for the sand, because that money could go into the parks also. That's it.
Thank you. Public comment? Yes, sir.
Yeah, is this thing working?
Yeah, touch that button there at the bottom there.
Yeah, it's working. I couldn't let this opportunity go by, having all the discussion over budgets and salaries and salary increases. I just had to say something about the budget today, Mike. This is to you and Bobby and John. I'd like to talk about the township budget process. Last year, at the November 2021 meeting, I stood before you and asked you to document a budget process, document the deliverables, the schedule, the reporting, the requirements, and expectations for a revenue-neutral process. Do you recall that? I asked the board why the budget was inflated by over 20%. I asked for a more balanced budget. No response. Because the budget was done in about 8 days, there was no time for a public review, much less a public input. No discussion of last-minute changes from a prior version, which caught our trustees by surprise. We had that discussion, a little calamity that went on there. No review schedule matching statutory requirements. So the whole thing was approved 3-2, just like you just approved your pay raises. Or we would have shut down the township, no choice. That's what we were left with because we don't have a budget process. So in December, a trustee asked for a written policy with, I believe it was Bob, with a 90-day process that complied with Michigan Treasury uniform guidance. In January, the auditor recommended there should be a written policy that would allow the presentation of the budget in a public hearing, then provide 30 days for public review and input, then another 30 days for the public hearing before a vote is cast. So changes could be made based on public input, just like you had here from Pat. We don't get a chance for public input on so many of these things. And here we go again. 7 weeks before the township must have a budget to pay its bills, we still have unaddressed audit deficiencies and no budget process. Show me where it is, I'd like to read it. In summary, we have the same conditions emerging this year for another slam dunk budget. Maybe it'll be 10 days instead of 8. There's no schedule for public review of the budget or its process for auditor recommendations. Audit items have not been published and brought to the board for review and approval. We heard that today. It's like a merry-go-round. This is not what good governance should look like. When is this board going to do what's right for the township? When is the board going to follow Treasury guidance? When is the board going to follow the auditor's recommended processes? Or for that reason, my recommended processes? I was willing to sit down with you and go through that. It's not rocket science. Other townships do this, to use Bobby's favorite explanation for why we do things here. That's the way other townships do it. Well, we're not doing with their budgets. What they're doing with their budget, we're not doing it here. So this board needs to pass a comprehensive budget process and follow it. It needs to happen now, this week. And this board is failing its fiduciary responsibility with the taxpayers. Fiduciary means our interests, not yours. That's all I've got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment? Yes, ma'am, Jan, go ahead.
I haven't owned, but I've been on Victor Drive since 1970 something when my parents purchased the property. In my memory and a conversation I had with Cam Cavett, no one can recall the last time the ditch was refreshed on the east side of Victor Drive. Because we haven't done anything with that ditch, The soils in the road are now so hydrolyzed that even putting gravel on it is like putting a Band-Aid on an amputated limb. I talked to Cam Cabot. They, because it's not in a designated drain district, he doesn't have a lot of authority with it. I'm hoping that we can put together some communication either from the people on that drive or as a township to ask the road commission to put it somewhere on their priority list. I had a conversation last fall with the then road commission director who said he would put it on the list for spring, but since he's no longer with us, I'm assuming that that list probably isn't valid now. So we're gonna lose the road, we're gonna have something stuck down that road. It's really bad.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Try to be brief, I have a lot. Pat caught me a little off guard with his proposal. I agree with him, not just for medical, not just for parks. There are 5 classes of state license. Only one of those is previously called a dispensary, now called a provisioning center. I am totally against those, would not want them in our tourist district, would not want them anywhere in the township. That leaves 4 other classes of license: grow, processing, testing, and transportation. Any one or all of those 4 would be completely appropriate here in the industrial park or in many of the other vacant buildings that we have. I agree with him completely that we should revisit this, but this is a complicated issue, it's a complicated discussion. I believe that that $65,000 is per license.
Correct.
So if we had 10 licenses, that would be $650,000 coming into our budget, in addition to the jobs it would create, the revenue, the ancillary restaurants, housing, whatever. Marijuana is here, whether we want it here or not. The negatives of it are regarding the dispensaries and the provisioning centers. And I don't want those, and I would not support one of those anywhere in the township. That doesn't mean we shouldn't revisit the other 4 classes of license. You know, we just saw another example of the fractured board. If people can see it, I don't like it, I'm sure other people don't like it. This was a symbolic vote. What does it symbolize? What message does it send from the 5 of you? You guys adopted a conflict of interest policy only because the USDA required it, even though we requested it for 2 solid years. Never came to be until the USDA required it. What's happened since then? Nothing. Have you implemented it? Have you even addressed it since you passed it? No. Time to start. You ask where Bob got the letter. The point isn't where he got the letter. The point is that he didn't get it from you, that it was addressed to the governing body. And Mrs. Vance, did you get a copy of it? And Bob, you didn't get a copy of it. That sounds to me a lot like correspondence that arrived in January. Was it mentioned at the February meeting as correspondence? No, not good governance. In November and December of 2013, Treasury sent us similar letters to what we're talking about today. Here we are 9 years later, we're doing the same thing. That was for 1 material defect. Today we have 6. Mecosta County, Morton Township, population 4,400. They have a 59-page comprehensive policy manual online. Google it. Just because something is complying with current law doesn't relieve us from having a written policy that addresses it. It may keep us from violating the law, but it doesn't relieve our obligation. We don't have a purchasing policy. You can't update a policy that you can't have, that you don't have. In September of 21, we had a fiasco with no bills to pay, resulting in a special meeting. At that special meeting, we talked about an ongoing resolution to pay bills. Nobody could produce it.
Ron, we gotta move on. You got a lot more there?
I have one more item.
Okay.
You also talked about a CETA consultant. Who pays for that? And was there an RFP for it? We're doing the same things over and over. We gotta stop. We deserve better.
Thank you.
I have
Yes, sir.
Don't want to be here this late, but. Well, stuff's sitting there. This basically has to do with the master plan that we're about to encounter, but I've been living here, I've been a resident of this township for 30 years. I've lived here for 18, I was a trunk slammer for 12 years, so I've been involved in quite a few that they approved, and the $200 trailer was at the ice cream plant, and they overruled us, so, but now they work pretty well with us. We have a new administration. By utilizing the master plan and overcoming the naysayers in this township, excuse me, we have accomplished with the leadership of Mike Ridley and a lot of volunteers, a marina park and boat launch, a Veterans Pier and updated, it is Veterans Pier by the way, Scott, Veterans Pier and a DeVoe Beach update, Cooperation Park, the expansion of Cooperation Park, sewers, downtown, and future, future sewers, which brought a lot of new businesses to this town, including the Munson Healthcare Center and the, excuse me, the other item was the VA clinic that Mike and Bob both had a lot to do with getting that here because of sewers. The other thing that we've had is streetscape. You go down the street, and that's all due to future planning from 10 years ago. A food truck ordinance, because of some of the things we had here, and Dawn was a big person, or involved with that. So in order to keep the momentum going, we need all this be on the same page with this community vision for the future. There's a lot of division with this board, the local media reporting and others. I'm very disappointed in Mr. Kramer. I was very pleased before the election with his vision and energy for this township. We had many discussions before he was elected, and I was very impressed with him. But he has become a person that is trying to disrupt the continuity of this board with his emails and accusations of the township administration that he's a part of. We already have one trustee that has proven she was against the community growth and cooperation. She was vehement against sewers and cooperation with a group of residents that tried to tear this community apart. Also, she was against repaving Eagles Nest Road, and she wanted it to go back state dirt. And it was against the request of most of the people in that area that was willing to pay for it. So now that she's a trustee, I hope she will be more a team player. You know, the reason I'm bringing this up is that in order to develop a successful business plan or a master plan, the vision of the future, we need to be more positive input from the township leaders and the community. Not a divided community. Remember, most of the accomplishments are done by volunteers and underpaid township officials, which came up tonight. I keep asking Mike, Bobby, and Dawn, why do you take all this grief? You know, for the time you put in the pay. They say it's the passion of making Indian River a better place to live. I'm done, but everybody else got more than 3 minutes.
Well, I gave more than 3 minutes. I gave you more than 3 minutes. Yes, go ahead.
I'm done. I'll be done.
Just food for thought. My husband worked as a public servant for 35 years, attorney for City of Owasso, and they had a Saturday that they worked every year to work on their budget, update their policies. It was always the same Saturday every year, and you know, I know it's not popular to work on a weekend. You don't get paid enough, but you know, that way they had that date. You know, they worked through things and things were done moving forward. And another thing, I didn't really hear anything about your bidding policy, okay? And I have heard about that in the past. I didn't hear anything about that today. I don't know if that needs reviewing. Okay, well, moving forward with sewers, you know, that's gonna be a big deal to get bids out. And so you have to have a really good policy in place of what needs board approval, how many bids you need, and what time frame, you know. So just food for thought. And thirdly, just food for thought, sounds to me with the VA project, you're gonna have a lot of dirt that is going to be moved, and it sounds to me tonight like you have roads and you have sewer projects, and those things need dirt, so maybe you can buy some of that dirt, or they will give it to you, you know, in exchange for storage. Maybe it has to be processed, but, you know, why not? You know, maybe that's a negotiable thing, you know, to save money, you know, to this township, and solve their problem too, of not stockpiling a lot of dirt over a long time. Okay? That's all I have to
Thank
say.
you. Public comment? Yes, ma'am.
I'm just gonna stay here, 'cause it's quick. I was trying to get that dirt for our sledding hill, but Doug turned me down.
Might not be too late.
I just want to say, when I was talking about the grant earlier that we applied for through Kubota, that I failed to mention Pat and James. They contributed a lot of pictures for that too, and I'm sorry I left you out on that one. And I thank you, because they always take great pictures for everything we need them for. And I just hope that the board will consider the Parks Commission in the future if there's any ARPA money coming, because, you know, we don't have a millage, and, you know, tourism is what we're about, and of course, the kids of this community. So if you'll consider in the future giving some money towards the many needs we have, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you. Public comment? Okay, public comment is closed. Board comments?
I got one.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna use the podium.
Sure.
Good. Okay. As per the Michigan Township Association's description of a township trustee, a trustee has the fiduciary responsibilities to manage the affairs of the township in the best interest of the public, and the responsibility to attend township board meetings and participate in deliberations and decisions. That's a quote. The board has 5 elected officials and is the governing body of this township. No one official has more or less authority than any other board member, even though they have different statutory duties. No one member has the authority to delay, change, alter, or veto any decision or directive voted on by this board. Our votes are not suggestions, and the decisions of this board are absolute. I was not elected to protect the status quo or paint rosy pictures to deflect from the serious problems we face. I was elected by the people of this township to look after their interests, no matter how uncomfortable the difficulties may be. Some people are under the impression the board should decide controversial or contentious issues behind closed doors, but that would not only be illegal but unethical as well. The Opens Meeting Act states that all decisions of a public body shall be made at a meeting open to the public, and a public body may never vote or make a decision in closed session. When we have our monthly meetings, this is our business meeting, much like a corporate board of directors, and we will discuss the good, the bad, and sometimes even the ugly, and we may not always agree, but the decisions will be made in public for all to see. We have a lot of work to do, but we can do better. We have a FOIA policy, and since December of 2020, we have known that that policy's been out of date and needs to be revised. This has been brought to the board's attention numerous times, but no action has been made to correct this in 17 months. It's easier to ignore the problem or just push it down the road. The people deserve better. Currently, we have one official employee job description, and that is with the cemetery sexton. According to our own hiring policy and the Michigan Township Association, we are required to have job description for every employee, and that description should address certain requirements as listed in the MTA manual. There's a list of board-approved bullet points for the office assistant position, but it does not meet all the required standards. And the board was assured we would have a series of special meetings to address this issue, and again, it was kicked down the road as well. The people deserve better. We are required by the state of Michigan and the USDA to have a bid process adopted before we will qualify to receive any federal or state grants. This is a mandatory for the sewer project coming up. The board has been aware of this since December of 21. In February, we voted to schedule a series of special meetings to discuss and draft the needed policies, but the meeting was canceled, and that's as far as it went. Again, the people deserve better. In my opinion, last year's budget process was a fiasco. The whole process was condensed into about an 8-day time period, with no ability for the public to be informed or to have their concerns addressed. Kramer's proposal would allow the board and the public a 60 to 90 days for consideration and discussion. To date, the proposal has not been on any agenda for discussion, and there are only 36 business days left until the end of our fiscal year. The people deserve better. Not to mention the audit problems we've already discussed. As a board, we only have two options: success or failure. I am in the success department here. I alone do not have the authority to call a meeting or set an agenda. It takes everyone on the board willing to put in the hard work to be successful. And I truly want our township to succeed, and I'm willing to work with the board to move forward in a positive manner. However, we do have to address all the problems that present us. We can't keep kicking them down the road, because we can do better. The people deserve it. Thank you.
Board comments? Comments? Bob, go ahead.
Let me just say that my only real concern is the sewer project move forward, and if it does move forward, we don't have a problem. That's the only thing I'm concerned about. So forgive me if I'm overly passionate about the audit. It just scares me. Maybe I shouldn't be scared, but after 40 years in government, 3 on the city planning commission, 3 with the state of Ohio, and 35 years with the federal government, when I see a letter like that, I'm just concerned. And I've always covered all my bases, and I just hope we'll follow through, and all the work has been done. It's just a question of getting the documentation to the treasury, and if we do that, I'm just a real happy guy. But I will tell you, I'm a little concerned about words like handling these matters internally. That doesn't work for me. It just doesn't work for me. So, if you don't like my opinion, so be it. Let's just get on with it. If we could just get on with it. And yes, in my opinion, we failed the audit. Whether you agree with me or not, it's my opinion. I read the dictionary of the word failed, so that's my opinion. There's no opinion police in Tuscarora Township, and I'm not going to be canceled. So let's just get the job done. If you need me to come in here day or night for a special meeting or that kind of stuff, and I just want to hit one more thing about the pay. Your pay, in my opinion, should be 15% higher, maybe. Yours as well. I don't know about you. 10%. No. I'm just making a joke.
No, and I take it very seriously. I know who does the heavy lifting.
And it needs to be higher. I just haven't felt that. I just believe that's not the time. But I'll tell you what, if you take care of our employees in this high environment, I'll stand out here and go rah-rah at the annual meeting.
Thank you. Any more? Bobby?
I have a concern about the letter, and we kind of talked about it, but my concern goes deeper in the fact that we talk about all working together, and we talk about being a team and getting this done. And I heard rumblings of there being a letter passed around within our community that said that we failed the audit and that we didn't do things we were supposed to. And it was over a week ago. So Bob, if that is the same letter, my heart is broken that you would not come to the people who could fix it and say, oh my gosh, what is this letter? That it was passed around a community with letters degrading 3 fellow board members and not brought to us and said, oh my gosh, let's fix this. What if it did affect the sewer project? What if we could fix it a week ago and together What if it was that instead of in the community trying to make people dislike 3 people? That breaks my heart because feel the same as Mr. Sherman. When you came aboard, I was like, oh my gosh, here's this guy who's gonna do these great things, and he's got energy and he's got connections. And then I read a letter about myself. Wow. You say that if it's done, it's okay, but why wouldn't you have brought it to Dawn or I? I never saw that letter either. Why would you think I would see a letter? You think I deserve more pay? You think I do my job? Why would I see a letter when bank reconciliations are in my drawer and not upload them if I could? If I knew to upload bank reconciliations, hallelujah, and there was a due date, I would do that. So I'm really, really disappointed right now when we're throwing around this let's work together. And I got this, another time out in the community saying stuff. And if people think that if I went out in the community and talked about you that you wouldn't hear it, I know you would. So I would say it to you, I would bring it to you. And I'm very disheartened that this is happening in our community by board members when our hearts are in it. All 5 of our hearts are in it. Nobody sits here and does this and takes this because they don't care about their community. And it really is, I don't know even what to say besides just, it's very disheartening.
Thank you, Bobby. Board comment? Motion to adjourn. So moved?
Yep.